welcome to the Ink Panels Graphic Novel Book Club, and we are doing Wytches. I am Dan, and as always, joined by Gambit and
Hi
Jennifer. There. Comics Will Break Your Heart, and our special guest, Pretty Nerdy from Take 5 with Pretty Nerdy. Go subscribe her YouTube channel and go check her out on Instagram. And you have a selling page, and now you have a new selling thing you're doing on. I can't remember what it's called. I saw your little announcement for it.
So I don't have a seller page on Instagram anymore. I'm going to be exclusively selling on Hip Comic from now on.
It's on Hip Comics?
Yep, hipcomic.com.
Oh,
it's auctions, regular. It's kind of up and coming.
Like Whatnot, but
there's like so many opportunities to get auctions like way cheaper than value right now. It's bananas. Like I've been loving it. I can't wait to get everything listed next week, but I kind of been slacking on getting my pictures taken.
Honestly, like I have the hardest time, especially with slabs, taking pictures for eBay and stuff.
Oh, yeah, because of the light.
So there's a Google Scanner app where it takes 4 different pictures from quadrants, and it takes the shadow out and the reflection. So that's what I used on my phone now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah,
I just take a picture from far away, and from an angle, and then I just zoom in with the camera.
That's been my trick lately because every picture I take has glare on it, and I just can't. I can't.
But I just noticed your eyes, and I'm just like, I'm probably going to be doing this the whole time, looking at your eyes.
His eyes, the red and the white. I just noticed that when you said it.
Yeah.
Hey, John Dre, thanks for coming by.
Hey.
And Scott, of course, our fellow Dune over.
Let me share the link
now. Okay, so Wytches, Scott Snyder, Jock, and the superstar of this book, in my opinion, Matt Hollingsworth on colors, because fuck, he sets the mood.
Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Like, I when a colorist, when I'm noticing it, like, I have to shout it out, and phenomenal job in this. This was my pick for the month, and it seemed like a good one because I've always wanted to kind of do this on the show eventually. And as far as Scott Snyder books go, like, I think this is one of the more complete ending ones. I thought compared to some of his other books, he stuck the ending a little bit better than some of the others.
I feel so too.
I think with because spoiler alert, this was supposed to get more to it. We've been promised it for a couple of years.
6 years.
Yeah, and we still haven't gotten it. And so it's funny that you say that because, yes, if you didn't know that, you could probably finish this book and be like, okay, it is one and done because it stopped somewhere. Mm-hmm. But then reading this again, knowing that we were promised more and haven't gotten it.
And then Bad Egg came out, but that was a prequel.
Yeah, the Bad Eggs, I was just informed of that and was told that kind of reopens the semi-solidified ending.
Sorta, kinda.
What is Bad Eggs?
It was a Halloween special prequel thing. I didn't read it, but...
It had been like a backup story in the Image Plus preview solicitations where it was like a couple of pages a month. And then they didn't give you the ending, and they made you have to buy the one shot to get the ending. So, like, they double fucked you.
They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing.
That's
Kat
just
Salazar, we know your tricks. Although, like, I keep bringing her up, and I know she's like, keep talking, fuckers. I will get Mercy Season 2 on your ass, and you will not enjoy it.
No, I'm not doing it.
So, Adriana, so Jen and I, 1 week when we were doing our weekly show, every book we hated. Mm-hmm. Every fucking book. We literally were like, this was the worst week ever, and we were both looking forward to Mercy, and we're like, this is trash.
I describe it as the song WAP by Cardi B? Whatever the opposite of WAP is, that's exactly what I experienced. It was DOP, whatever it is. It was not it that week.
You see, I have a friend.
So do you have as part of a time saying bad things about books you don't like as I do? Because I've been asked to review books that I thought were borderline unreadable but I would find like those few little positive like nuggets. Be like, this was okay, this was cool. Check this one page out, and I just can't like. I don't know. I just don't have it in me to like really negatively review something. So how do I like not? How do I get past that?
You know, it's funny because like I feel I 100% feel that, where I was like, I don't want to be that person that just talks trash about books all the time. And I realized what I think it is that there is a majority, or there's a sub part of maybe like comic book YouTube or comic book I don't know, fandom, if you can call them that just trash books or create fake news and fake anger around books just to do it. Like the team of people who are like trashing I Am Not Starfire are just doing it because it's the cool thing to hate on a book like that right now. And I think that that's where the honesty comes in. Like, I want to be honest about books, and I don't want to mislead people about books.
I try to look for the positives and talk the bad as well. But I think we all kind of gang fucked Scumbag. When
I haven't read Scumbag.
When
number one, I haven't read it yet. Is it really that trash?
I just think
it's
that
jarring.
It does exactly what it aims to do. Like, if you're like, I know that this book is going to try to go in and be edgy and raunchy and just kind of like dirty, it does that, but it does it in a way that I think that it could be smarter and have nuance. And this is coming from someone who loves like trash TV and makes like dick and fart jokes all the time. And I'm like, this book could be smarter.
It was just real lowbrow compared to what it should have been.
I'm a Remender stan, and I was like reading going, oh God, he's gone too far. Like, this is
okay, so now I'm gonna have to read it.
There's a dude shitting in the street.
So here's the thing. I try not to, if I don't have anything good to say about something, I try not to even talk about that, you know. So sometimes when a new album comes out or a new book comes out and someone's like, oh, I want to hear what you think. I'll talk about it at some point, you know. If I don't like it, and if you don't hear from me, chances are probably I did not enjoy it, you know. I just try not to trash talk products, because as a creator, I know the hard work that goes into these books, you know, and I know how difficult it is to finally get published, and I feel like, you know, I do a better service by just not saying anything about it, you know. I didn't like it. It doesn't exist, you know. Does not take anything away from me. If someone else likes it, then good for you. Are you enjoying it? Awesome.
That's
fun,
point,
you know.
too. It's just because I didn't like it doesn't mean somebody else won't. And if I went online and I said bad things about it, I may have deterred them from going and checking it out when it could have been something that they enjoyed. You know?
Even when I was completely just trashing Tom King's Batman, I would always say like, but Clayman's art or Michael Janin or Joelle Jones, their art was phenomenal. I wasn't digging the story being told, but the art was fantastic. And like, I had to have my mind changed that these books could be someone's first book.
Yeah.
And as an older reader, like, I feel like a heroin user. I'm chasing the dragon constantly. I want that, like, that high that I had as a kid again. And I might not ever get that again.
Yeah.
I think Black Hammer and Saga were like the two recently that really hit me.
Can we talk about Saga? Can we just take a minute?
Yes.
Did y'all cry? Like, I messaged on his Instagram the day before. He said, Photoshop yourself into my picture. And I said, hey, friend, can we Photoshop in a Saga announcement? 24 hours later, we got one.
You did it. I'm going to give you all the credit for that one.
I don't think I had anything to do with it, but the timing was just...
Jen and I have been manifesting this for like, because we were like, listen, we're just during lockdown, we're just like, we need the Dune movie and we need Saga to come back and the world will right itself.
So you're telling me that things are going to start to get better, that now that we got Dune and we're going to get Saga again, because I'm here for it, for
Jen and I,
better, you know. I'm here for things to start getting better. Legit.
Yeah.
Well,
like this was our dream to keep going.
Get a lot worse depending on how they open issue 55.
So true.
We'll see what happens.
As long as they give me an ending, I don't care if it's a bad ending. I just want an ending. Just finish this thing. Finish it so that I don't feel incomplete.
Well, we're supposed to get equally as many new issues as issues we already have.
54. Yeah.
So it could be a couple years before you get your like full closure moment.
Okay, but damn it.
This might be a conversation for
Sorry.
when we finally get that Saga one-off show, like maybe during the holiday season with the catch-up and just one episode and kind of talk where we think it might be going and like what we hope will happen. It already seems from that cover there's a time jump again.
Yeah, for sure.
Or that maybe it'll go like a perspective. Like maybe this will be the tale told from a completely other perspective.
That giant fucking koala is going to be a thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's going to be a stuffed animal. I am sure of that. Like right away.
Done. I'll buy it. I'm already pre-ordering 2 right now.
It's not even a product yet, and you're ready for
Mhm.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, look what
that's how they
Goose
get
did.
us.
Like this little otter with a giant fucking battle axe.
Yeah, good.
Oh
And
my god, he's my
coveralls.
favorite. He's so cute. I found Skybound had a shirt and it was all white and had a little goose pocket.
Amazingly enough, we're already off topic. This is great.
11 minutes
Off
in, bam.
Off
I'm
topic is
sorry.
the new on topic.
I got real stoked on that.
We weren't
saga.
we weren't even 10 minutes in when we were already out of the rails.
Well,
Yeah.
we haven't been live since really this news dropped, and like literally every story on Instagram was nothing but "Holy shit, Saga's back! Holy shit, I
Yeah.
have to reread it all."
And
Fuck.
then
right?
Nat posting like her wheel of Saga where it's
Oh, that was a
basically
great
multiple issues of every single issue.
Right?
That was a flex. She,
That was
Yeah.
the ultimate
she has
flex.
12 of number 1. 12.
Okay, well maybe a girl can sell
5
one of them.
graded. 5 graded.
It's like
Okay,
it's like,
I'd buy
it's
it
like,
graded.
It's like this was her that they like super
Oh, yeah.
mega flex. I
Saga
saw it. I
is
was like,
First
God damn
full
it.
run ever.
Oh
That's
wow.
the first run I ever completed with Saga.
nice.
Literally, she's basically Denzel Washington in Training Day. I'm King Kong, bitch.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean,
that.
she has every right to.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
mean, if you have it, flex it. Fuck yeah, you know.
When I ever hear people talk about like the not true female comic fans collectors, like she is like the first person I'll go to and go, fucking try her collection, like
Yeah.
because her shit she's pulled out, like she's got the first Green Lantern, like she has stuff that like she posts like random, like, oh yeah, I got this. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And not only does she have like a bananas collection, but I am so jealous of the fact that she manages to coordinate her schedule in a way that she sits down, she reads her new books every week, and she's like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. I'm like, how did you find that time? I'm just buying and stacking them in the corner and intending to read them.
It's right next to me, my
So
stack.
trade secret, she doesn't sleep.
Yeah, I think she's not here.
Oh no. She literally will be texting me while I'm at work at like 3 or 4 in the morning. Like
Yeah.
she does not sleep.
I
My,
mean,
My
my
only-
stack is too high. It's almost 100 books now. It's not funny anymore.
209.
No,
My
I
read
don't wanna-
pile.
I am legit considering stopping buying comics for a few months until I
Don't
catch
even
up,
try.
you know.
Don't even try.
But
I
then
would
I have
quit my
I have
job
this
instead.
fear of missing out, you know, and then I know something cool is gonna happen while I'm not buying it because it happens every time I stop or I don't go to the comic book store for a week. It's suddenly that week something could happen and I miss out on it.
So if
my
you're
problem
collecting
is I
Image,
work
they're
in a
not coming
shop,
on
and
time.
They come in and tell me what happened in the books the week before, and I'm like, I haven't been freaking ready yet.
I'm like
Every
3
Rodney
issues
Barnes
behind.
book's been
Stop it.
late. Like I didn't get Philadelphia this week. It's late.
Oh
I
no!
didn't get Philadelphia, but I got Nita Haas from
Yeah,
last
everything's
week.
a week behind. It seems.
Yeah.
The paper disruption is real.
Yeah.
We haven't had that problem, except all those fucking king spawns and the gunslinger spawns. We got hundreds of them, and I'm bagging and boarding and putting them on the shelf. The next, I never wanted to see spawn again by the time I was done. He sent the rest of the shipment, so another couple hundred of them. I'm like, no. Is that really a big problem for you guys right now? Like, you're not getting your stuff on time?
Mhm.
Yeah, like it's weird. It's mainly Image lately. That's the
Mm.
only one.
I think it for me it Mostly Image. There was a hot minute there where it was like the wildfires, because I'm on the West Coast, so like there would be a week where like comics would come in a day or two late, but it was because of the wildfires, not necessarily anything else. But yeah,
More logistical, like just getting them
Mhm.
through places.
Yeah, my LCS is not that good, so like I usually walk in going, "Well, they fucked me again."
Oh, man.
See you next.
Did they move the store or have
They moved the store.
Yeah.
It looks nicer, like, but still, like, it's so fucking dysfunctional in there. Like,
God damn it.
just-
You
like,
might think, with a
the
fresh
employees are
start.
complaining about the owner. Like, it's sad.
It's sad, yeah. I mean, how long has that store been there? Like 25 years, 30 years?
Oh, plus Adriana, I was really jealous you got that slip cover. Something is killing the children.
So we did get shorted on that, but I had told him in advance, make sure I am on the list for one of those.
Yeah.
So he got his, mine, the other employee, and 2 other people that had pre-ordered it, and that's it. But he ordered like 12 of them, and all the other shops locally also were telling us like they didn't get them. You didn't get one?
No. They went on eBay, apparently, everywhere other stores for $130.
You
What
know,
book?
The Something is Killing the Children slipcase hardcover.
Oh, okay.
And you can only get that with the first printing. Like they're gonna reprint the hardcover, but they're not gonna do it with the slipcover.
Yeah.
When I went into the shop that day, there were 2 there, and I'm like, I already have the trades. I'm not gonna, like, I like the series, but like I've already got the trade, and I've got the Jenny Frison cover that is apparently $40 now reselling for the trade, and I'm like, nah, I don't need the slipcover. And then I like got home, checked Instagram, and basically saw that it's $100+, and I'm like, there were 2 sitting there. Like I could have.
You're not that person, though.
I could have easily like been like, here, Dan, like.
Yeah, I'm not that person, but if I'm not gonna let go of an opportunity when I see it,
Mhm.
I am not the one that buys books to flip them, but if I see the opportunity of buying a book that I can flip, I will flip it because
I just got the first message asking if I was really covered in blood.
Yes.
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 You are
We
covered
need
in blood.
context.
Like,
Yes.
good.
Yes, you are live. You hit yourself in the head, and you are live
Mhm.
instead of going to the hospital. And you're like, yeah, that calm.
I'm glad I have a great rep. Anyway.
I was like, what did Dan do tonight?
So, Adriana, this was your first time reading this book, and you weren't very familiar with Scott Snyder's work, outside of maybe Noctera, maybe?
So don't judge me, but I got Noctera #1, and it was a gift from my partner, and it was the gorgeous Zoo Orzu exclusive, and I am so afraid to take it out of the plastic because I'm a clumsy bitch.
Mhm.
So I have not read it, and I asked him if I could borrow his less beautiful and less valuable copy so I could actually read it.
The reader copy.
I know of some of his other work, but I am admittedly not a huge DC reader. And from what I understand, a lot of his work is Swamp Thing, Batman, stuff like that. And I've just always been more drawn to the indie side. So now, after reading this and loving it, I'm seeing that he has some other titles. American Vampire.
Yeah.
American Vampire started strong and then peters out near the end. But his horror stuff, much like James Tinian, who weirdly Scott is his teacher.
That
His
makes sense.
senpai, really.
He really seems to gravitate. Like, I feel like the horror stuff from both of them is better than their superhero stuff.
They're indie. I think that they're indie stuff in general. Like, I haven't read too much of like the Batman stuff that he's done, maybe a little bit, but nothing that would ever keep me going. Read the first like kind of trades of American Vampire and liked it pretty good. And I think this title is definitely the one that stands out to me the most.
Yeah,
I started on this one has given me very high hopes for his other indie stuff. And like you're talking about, the indie stuff tends to be a little better than the superhero stuff because I think that they're being given a little more, I guess, creative freedom in those cases. So with that being said, you're saying American Vampire is like good and then maybe not so good.
It falls off a cliff at the end. And it goes back to my thing with Scott Snyder. He's like Stephen King, where like he kind of just can't land the finish.
So, like Jeff Loeb.
Speaking of Stephen King, he says Wytches is fantastic.
He co-wrote American Vampire, the first book. With
Yeah.
Scott
He
Snyder.
co-wrote the first American Vampire, and you should also check his The Wake was actually pretty cool too, with Sean Gordon Murphy and they are that one. Was
Well, Jen
really
has the
good
great
too.
Wake story with Sean Gordon.
I do.
Oh yeah.
Let's
I
hear
That's
it.
true.
I went to Heroes Con up in Charlotte, North Carolina, like years and years and years ago when I lived in South Carolina, and
Me too.
oh yeah, I went in. I think
Awesome.
it was 2013 and 2014 when I went to Heroes Con.
Okay.
So anyways, Sean Murphy and I go up to his table and we were just kind of chit-chatting about how because of course like North Carolina is pretty conservative, and anytime you go to a convention there's usually going to be, like, especially MegaCon, every year I'd go to MegaCon, there'd be the big cheerleading competition there. And so this year at Heroes Con there was like a conservative Republican meeting at Heroes Con, and Sean Murphy and I were just kind of talking about that and talking about other things. And then I was like, hey, so there's a character in this book that looks like Carl Sagan. And if you don't know who Carl Sagan is, personal hero of mine, did Cosmos, wrote some incredible books, and was just like a promoter of like science in general. But anyways, so he and I start talking about that. We talk about Cosmos, and then all of a sudden, like, both of us just kind of like in sync go into this. There's an episode of Cosmos where Carl Sagan talks about the whale song, and so he just goes whoop, boom, whoop, boom. So then Sean Murphy and I Sean Murphy and I just start going whoop, boom together in unison, and it was a beautiful moment. So Sean Murphy, I know you're watching. I'm
Yes,
that weirdo
he's-
from 2013 who whoop booed with you at Heroes Con.
He probably
That's
remembers.
beautiful.
He probably does. I mean, his wife was there too. I hope she remembers too.
She's the
precious.
one who wrote the Harley Quinn White Knight book.
Oh really?
Yes, Katana Collins.
Oh,
Hmm.
All right.
I did.
Did not
I,
know
I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
There was a
awesome.
little nepotism going in with.
Oh my God. I mean, you know, the more I learn about the industry, the more people I meet, and the more I learn about the industry, the more I see that.
Mhm.
You know, the more I see that. No, my mom was the one in charge of the artists at that time in the company. Oh, I see. You know, no, my dad, it's so and so, and so.
Well, there's that whole story. Like I know, like Jeff Johns. Like when I listen to his Fat Man on Batman, he basically says every time someone finds a way into the industry, that door closes immediately. So no one can get in that way again, because like literally he was Richard Donner's assistant.
Yeah.
And when they had the conspiracy theory thing, DC had that big book of conspiracies, and he went to this, and they were at the set, you know, handing them out to people, and he kind of schmoozed, and it was like, I love comics, blah, blah, blah. And he somehow got in.
Yep.
Just one of those weird things.
I mean, I don't want to take anything away from his writing, because I like his writing, but somehow he got in.
Can we talk about Scott's comment?
Oh. I tried to take pendants.
Yeah.
I tell my
I-
partner I'm going to leave him for Mofood all the time. I'm just going to walk up to him at a convention and be like, hotel bar?
Scott's been
Yeah.
sitting there like with this chambered all day, probably like, I'm gonna use this some point.
One day I'm gonna be able to use this joke. Today was that day.
Make it so.
What's his name? Donnie Cates posted a picture of him and his wife recently, like on Twitter.
Megan
maybe, like,
Hetrick.
yeah, or Megan Hutchinson.
Or,
And
okay.
yeah, and then I commented, I'm like, this is the couple over at the bar that buys you a drink and says like, hey, we like your vibe. And
I
And
100% agree with that.
100%. And I'm like, I wouldn't be mad if they bought me a drink. And then like he said something else, and I was like, I tweeted back, I was like, if I can't be horny on Maine for like comic book creators, that is what Kirby was talking about when he said comics will break your heart. So that's probably my favorite tweet ever.
You know what's gonna be funny? If you're at Rose City Comic Con and they're at a bar you're at and they're like, hey, what's going on?
Done.
They don't mess with norms. I think she proposed to him, correct?
Sounds about right.
Probably.
I mean, yeah.
Like
he'd be a dummy if he
couple goals forever and ever and ever.
So Wytches.
Yes.
Wytches, right? Still off topic. 26 minutes later.
Adriana started messaging me. She's like, 3 pages in, and this one line hooked me. And it was the pledged is pledged.
Pledged is pledged, yes.
Not realizing.
Sorry, Mom. I'm just like, yes,
but finding out that story later on about that kid, it's like, yeah, fuck him.
Fuck him.
But seriously, that line is so good and it's so simple.
Yeah. But that was when it was like 3 pages in, and I knew I was like, I'm going to digest this. Like, we're going. Let's do this.
It's a tone setter.
Oh, we have 3 copies of that in my house.
Yeah. Met him at that, sorry, because of Gore's comment, but met him and signed it. Yep.
That's gorgeous.
Nice. Also, Clem Robin's lettering in this is pretty on point. Like, especially with the definitions of witch in the beginning.
Yes, that was those first 2 pages. How it starts all scratchy and it's more scratchy. You know, it's really creepy.
I had someone tell me that they didn't like this book because the art was ugly.
I hate that. Like
Jock has a very certain look to his art. Like, it's very distinct. And I think it sets the tone here. And I think the colors are really what set this apart.
Yeah.
I think if maybe you're like used to a certain type of genre of comic book, like if you're used to say like superhero comic books and you're used to Frank Quitely, like sure, this is going to look really messy, but to me it's like it's kinetic and it just moves on the panel, which is always my favorite art, that just like you can't pin it down.
Yeah. To really appreciate it, you have to like be able to follow something in a non-linear way. And I sometimes have a hard time when there's a lot of like flashbacking and stuff like that. Yeah. And I can get a little confused, but like you were talking about the coloring was used very heavily to imply when we're current, when we're in the past, you know, and that messiness, I didn't really get lost in it like I thought I would, because the changes in the coloring kept it linear for me. But people who, like you said, need that panel to panel traditional setup are gonna think it's ugly. But like people like us who show up to streams with blood all over our face, are gonna be like, this is my shit. This is my bread and butter, you know?
So I would
people who can appreciate art.
I would put this almost with Francesco Francavilla. Yeah. Where the colors are so heavy it almost bleeds.
Yes.
Also, J.H. Williams III, the way he does his panels always fucks with people because it's kind of all over the place, but I love the fact that he works outside of the grid.
It reminds me a little bit of and I know I'm going to butcher his name. Sienkiewicz? Is that how
Sienkiewicz?
Yes. Okay.
I have a whole video where we talk about how we can't say his name in the middle of it.
So it kind of reminds me of his work in all the, you know, all the sketchy.
Not as abstract, but the coloring and inking.
Yes, you know,
heavy.
I don't know. It just reminds me of his work. I love the work on this book. I read this book when it came out, when the trade came out the first time, right? And I hadn't read it again, and I legit did not remember anything about the book at all, which is super weird. I usually read something, and as you're reading it, you start, you know, remembering things of when you read it, but I don't remember anything. So it was like the first time reading it again, it was way creepier than I remember. I
Well,
mean,
if-
I
if I
don't
re-
remember it, but yeah.
If I recall, when Jen and I started doing the weekly show, like Scott Snyder made this huge announcement. Yeah, I've got the script. I'm handing it to Jock. Wytches is happening. 2 years later, we haven't seen anything.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I felt very disappointed going back and reading this book, that I was like, wow, I can't believe it's been this long and we still don't have a sequel to this. And not necessarily like, I get it, like the process takes a long time. It doesn't just take like, you know, even in this last year we've been through a pandemic, so I think it could be easy for us to say like, oh, like all you did was stay home and you couldn't have drawn a single fucking comic book, but in like it takes much longer than that to get something done. But I was
Unless you're Steve Orlando.
unless you're Steve writing everything, and Tom Taylor, who's writing everything and doing a damn good job at it, by the way. But
Steve Orlando, like greatest guest, like he was so good on the show with us. It's one of the two like star guests we had. Like, ooh, Black Monday Murders, I don't think's ever coming back. Gore, I hate to say it, like
yeah, I've
with all
given
the
up on that
Substack
one.
stuff, unless he's putting it out on Substack, which good God,
I enjoyed that first trade.
I don't want to have to pay for Substack. I really don't.
I feel
Especially-
optimistic now that they finally are like, you can have Saga back. Like, I feel like all of these overpromised,
Anything can happen.
delivered things we have going on. Like, there's hope in our hearts now.
Anything can happen. We can get a Wytches
Yes.
too, you know, another Wytches. We could
We
get
can
more
get
on Sabrina, you know.
Movies.
There's a weird thing from this year where the protagonists in books all look like Matt Fraction.
What?
Because Sex Criminals looks the guy John looks just like Matt Fraction.
I
The
thought that
father here looks like Matt Fraction.
Oh my
I-
god.
I
I
kind of
also-
see that now. I
in
didn't
Sex
even think about it.
Criminal, I always feel like as I'm reading this, as I've been reading Susie, I always read it as Kelly Sukonic.
Yes.
So it's funny that you say that it's Matt Fraction, because I feel
I
like
literally thought it was their relationship when they first hooked up. Like
100%. Another like hashtag like couples goals. Like if you're watching, I'll buy you both a drink sometime. Like
Damn.
Oh, I just to hear him and Chip Zdarsky go back and forth, I think would
once
be
again,
hysterical.
hashtag couple goals. I'll buy you both a drink, and I'm just kidding.
Literally, they're like the hetero life mates.
100%, and it's adorable. It's the best.
So I did like that they touched on Sailor's mental issues, and the dad's kind of an asshole. Like during
Well,
part of this.
Yeah.
He was drunk.
Yeah, but still, like the treatment, and he was kind of bullying her. But there's that part where she's like, "I'm never gonna be normal. I wish you'd have another child just so that could be your child, and you don't have to worry about me." And that was so fucking heavy.
Yeah.
And Scott Snyder's been very open about his mental issues, where he has anxiety, depression. He had a breakdown doing Batman.
You know, I met Snyder in 2013 at the Puerto Rico Comic Con. It was the first time that I was working with the convention, hosting panels for the artist. Before that, I had a similar show to this one in Puerto Rico, and I got hired to the panel. So he was the first one that I had to host the panel for, and he was really, really, really cool about it, you know. And I was so nervous and so anxious. And then I heard him talk about all that. And one of the things that he said, somebody asked him, how does he get past a writer's block, which is something that all of us at some point, to some extent, use it as an excuse, you know? And he said, well, here's the thing. My client doesn't care if I have writer's block. There's a deadline and my client wants a script at the end of the month and I have to deliver. And you can sit down and wait for the muse to come hit you, but you have to be working when it hits you, you know, because if you don't sit down and work, it's never going to come. It's not something that just going to come. You have to sit down and start writing, and in that process something is going to happen, and it's going to happen, you know, but you have to actually actively do it, and that's how he gets past that. And at that point, I've had a script for almost 7 years in my drawer. 2 years later, I published my first book, and in that same year, I moved here. So after that convention and after that encounter, my mindset completely changed, and my whole work ethics changed, and I've managed to put my career on track thanks to that interaction, to that convention.
Uh-huh.
And because he started talking about the anxiety and all this, and I started seeing like, oh shit, I mean, if he can do it, what's stopping me? What's stopping me from being able to adopt that mindset and just start doing it? Because if I don't do it, it's not gonna get done. And that's what I did. I started doing, and now I haven't stopped, and I'm tired.
I would,
boss.
if you're a creator and you want inspiration, like the Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder, they did separate Fat Man on Batmans with Kevin Smith. And both of them had crazy issues in their lives that they were able to get past. And like Capullo was turned down constantly. Like Larry Hama used to just rip into his work when he'd submit it.
Damn.
Like
that's rough, man.
Yeah.
And he battled alcoholism, and at one point Todd McFarlane was still paying him just to do covers, but Capullo was like, you know what, I'm trash. Don't keep paying me. Like it's crazy stuff, and like it's kind of cool to, in a way, to hear these people going through shit. And Snyder and Capullo hated each other's guts when they first got on Batman. Like they had to have a sit down with editorial and be like, "Listen, you guys got to fucking behave."
Yeah, and now they're inseparable. It's funny. I met both of them a year apart in two different situations. And I think that when I met Capullo was during that period where like, hey, you guys need to get together somehow, because it was very early into the Batman New 52.
Yeah. So back to the book. Like,
yes,
I know
back to the Wytches.
I have
Back to
thoughts on
Wytches.
Charlie.
It's way creepier than I remember. Way creepier than I remember, which is good, because I remember the first time I do remember that I read it, and I do remember how I felt after I read it. And I was a little bit, I was like, I liked it, but
it's set up for a sequel so hard, and this is what Jem was saying, that we never got.
Yeah.
The Irons, like, okay, let's keep talking about them, but we haven't seen them really.
Yeah, that's right. That we never actually got an answer on that one. Shit, we need a sequel, man.
The interactions between the dad and Sailor, like where he's like, hippogriffs, they gotta die. Well, I shoved dynamite up their mouths and butts.
Mouths and butts. I loved that.
You seen my story the other day where it's just mouse and butts, baby, and I'm like crying because it's just like the moment when that happens, like it's crazy. And what you were talking about earlier before we like full segued about how he was kind of like bullying her.
Yeah.
It's very relatable in a way. Like in high school, I had, to this day, like I struggle with mental health things, and being that parent that does not know how to handle you. Like I don't know how my mom and dad did it. Like that feeling of helplessness, like where you're just not able to fix it, and what was wrong one day isn't what was wrong the next day, and maybe he didn't handle it in the most appropriate manner, but that feeling of helplessness that led him to that point, that's how he coped with it. It may have not been perfect, but I don't remember who said it to me, but somebody called this book smart horror, because they do touch on those things that are kind of hard to depict. But anybody who's been a parent of a child with any kind of mental health problems, or has gone through that moment of, I don't know how to fix this and I'm super mad about it, can kind of like take that, what is it, carousel scene, and metaphorically relate to it,
Yes. I don't relate too much to that specific scene, but that scene when he's saying, like, it's like you have one of your vital organs stripped out of you, and it's out there waving at people, and you're constantly scared for it.
Exactly.
That touched very deep. That touched very deep.
Thing between her and her bully, where that confrontation, and then when the witches take the bully, then finding out the story later, and then it just jump cuts to the deer puking and like blood all over the floor.
Oh my God, yes.
That's one of those like interesting moments that they chose. Is it one of those like maybe foreshadowing? Like, I don't know how to describe that, but like symbolistic shadowing. I really don't know, but I thought that was a pretty weird moment. But
the deer puking on the floor is the moment when you know that shit's gonna go sideways. And something that surprised me about this book is that it didn't wait until issue 4 or 5 to go sideways. You know, it went sideways right off the bat. It's like, so this is where we are. Holy shit, what's happening? 3 pages in, what the fuck? You know, and it goes and it takes you for this creepy ride. This really freaking creepy ride. I have to make one of the comments here that says that Snyder's Swamp Thing. And Animal Man. I don't think he was writing Animal Man at the time.
Lemire was.
Happened. It was Lemire.
They were tied
right?
together.
But they were tied together. And but his Swamp Thing was top notch. I have to say that Snyder's Swamp Thing was beautiful. And and how it tied with Lemire's Animal Man. I think it was one of the best things to come out of the new 52. And it's sad that it lasted so little.
I really like the emotional talks between Sailor and her dad, especially when she's like, "Dad, I wanted her to die. I didn't do it, but I wanted her to die. I didn't kill her, but I might as well have." Like it. And then him going to his wife, going, "She thinks the disappearance is her fault." Like, and it like the talk that someone would have with their child. And then, you know, you're like trying to decompress. You're like, "No, it's okay. It's okay." And it's like, oh God. Like,
so that moment when she says, "I wanted her to die," I that's another moment where I like, yeah, I can relate to that. I was there at one point in my life. I remember being in where she's sitting right now. You know, the difference between her and me is that something actually happened, something really fucked up happened in front of her. You know, and so I can only imagine how this destroys this girl's head even more. You know, she was already having these issues and these problems that she was handling, and now she has this girl being eaten by a tree basically, you know, in front of her, you know, and disappeared. And like, what the fuck? But I have to add to that, when he goes back to the room and he talks to his wife and he tells her she thinks the disappearance is her fault, you know. In hindsight, when you finish reading the book, you're like, what a bitch.
Yeah.
You know, because she's like, oh man, you know, well, we were gonna move here. Things were not gonna be easy. You know, we talk about this, you know, bitch. What?
Also, one of my favorite covers.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Yes, that is so creepy. I like eyes, man, and that shit is
surprised. I'm almost surprised that didn't end up as like the trade dress.
Yeah, kind of like, again, the Becky Cloonan cover was my jam, and like I ordered it from Hastings when they were still around, and of course my copy was fucking trashed when it showed up.
Yeah.
They were horrible. Like everything they shipped improperly.
Yeah.
It was so fucking annoying.
Man, people shipping shit. I got a book not long ago, and it was a slab book, and it came in the box with no wrapping, just in the box. Like I got the box, and I like something. It was a square box too, you know, and something was just plain inside the box, and I'm like, what the fuck? And when I open it, it's like the book is just there. You know, nothing happened to it. It doesn't have a scratch. It doesn't. I mean, it arrived in perfect conditions. I was lucky.
And then that book I gave you had so much like bubble wrap around
it.
Dude,
right? Oh my God, yes. By the way, thank you guys, because they found the Uncanny X-Men that I needed to have that run from 114 all the way. No, from 130 all the way to 530 uninterrupted. So
yeah, it was me and Morbius looking like
guys, thank
everywhere
you.
for it.
I really
Can I
appreciate
shamelessly
it.
plug real quick while we're talking about
Yes.
trash slabs? So this homie sent me these boxes, and he designed them. And there's boxes here that are made specifically just to house a slab, and it is the most oddly satisfying fucking thing in the entire world. Reptilian Overlord. So you fold it up, and it literally just like swaddles 2 slabs perfectly, so you don't have to like, explode the whole box with bubble wrap and stuff like that. So hit him up.
Black Hole by Charles Burns is such a fucked up book, but
Or
man,
by
it is
my
good.
best friend. That was the first comic I ever read in undergrad that got me into comic books. I have a #1 slapped on my wall.
Wow.
That like was one of the books that I read in high school that I feel like I think about that like Vertigo era of comic books, but like that was one of like the non-Vertigo. She's like, I'm gonna go get it. I'm like here looking just for like the trade or whatever, but
You see, when you guys say Black Hole, all I think is of this shitty old 80s.
Don't you
sci-fi
dare
movie.
mock that movie. I loved it as a kid.
I love that movie. That's why I can mock it, because I love
Maximilian.
yeah.
Weirdly, like this book hit me in a different place than I think when I first read it, because you know some of the harassment and shit I dealt with over the past year, like some parts of it kind of hit me in a weird place, and also I got a greater appreciation of the art and storytelling in it than I think I had the first read through. Reading it as a trade this time, the storytelling is like top notch with the way the art and the writing goes together.
Yes, that's something that I wanted to make a note of, how they there's no better artist for this book than Jock.
I would also recommend
perfect.
going back and reading the Detective Comics where it was Scott Snyder with Francesco Francavilla and Jock. It was the Black Mirror run.
Oh yeah, that one's really good too.
And again, Francavilla, like if you haven't read Afterlife with Archie,
yes, you should. You're missing out.
That's my this year collecting obsession, is all the Archie horror stuff. Thanks, John Dre, for hooking up some new covers lately.
It angers me though that they just dropped it and never went back to it.
But it makes it very digestible that way. Like people who don't want to commit to like longer things and they just really want to appreciate kind of some spooky art, they can just like, here's a couple of these.
I mean, I get it.
No lies detected. No lies detected, Scott.
The Scott Snyder best Batman run was a detective run. It was. I did love the new 52 Batman that he did all the way up to Zero Year.
0 Year was
When I read 0 Year, I was highly disappointed because I was expecting a lot from that. You know, it's like, holy shit, you know, they're doing something big. They said that they're going to do something fun and cool, and it was fun and it was cool, but it was
Justin, congratulations on 1,000, my friend. And let's plan to do something soon. Again, any book club you want to jump in on, you are always welcome to. And I'm so glad we got you hooked on Swamp Thing, brother.
Yes.
Nice.
Like, and again, Swamp Thing's such a great book to get in on. And also, I'm blaming Adriana for making you buy that first Swamp Thing.
So I hardcore sat there with my phone in my hand and was like, I have this much credit available here and this much I can pull here and got a little savings over here and I could sell a kidney. Like,
oh, she's flexing now.
Yeah.
I've got to. I paid more than I paid for rent on this, so I will flex it anytime I can.
Yes, you have to
Can I
flex
come
it.
over and we'll just have a slumber party and we can just cuddle?
Done.
I'll bring stuff.
Done. Yeah. 100%.
Just bring me edibles and a
I will bring my
flask.
edibles.
I've got edibles here. Like, yeah.
You didn't even have to bring
I'm
edibles.
stocked up. Yeah. 100%. Let's do it.
So
I found-
Let's get swamped. Huh?
Is the other one raw or is it grated? You said you have 2, right?
No.
I
wish.
thought I heard you say you have 2.
I found a copy of Sandman number 8 at MegaCon.
Ooh, how much?
Yes, $140.
That's a good
Not bad.
price. That's
yeah,
a
yeah,
great
yeah.
price.
I mean, raw.
Actually.
It wasn't graded though. It was raw.
That's
but
still.
I
I'm
found a
happy with it.
graded issue at a very, very good price. I almost pulled the trigger on, and then there was one number one that I sent to Jen. I was like, "Oh boy!" Like I'm thinking about it, and before the Netflix show comes out, I was like, I should, but I'm just not going to.
It's gonna
because I'm never
slip
gonna sell
and
it.
it's going to fall.
I'm right here to catch it.
Okay, cool.
It's funny because I remember like a year and a half ago now, maybe about a year ago, I remember that I bought
Thank you, John Jerry.
Sandman number 8. Bye. I bought Sandman number 8, and I'm like, man, I'm sending a stranger $100 on the internet to buy this. This is the most
I
I've
remember
ever
you
spent.
messaging me, and you were just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe what I just did."
I'm like, I made a huge mistake. I just sent $100 to a stranger for a book, and that at that point, that was the most I had ever spent on one singular book. And then a year later, here I am, like I'm like literally on my. I'm an adult. I'm gonna sell some stocks.
I have adult money now.
I'm gonna sell some stocks in order to get this. Like that's literally what I did. So
I mean, it's how you do it.
Mhm.
I just put it on the credit card and fuck it.
when I was buying Gambit's last X-Men, I was like, I can't believe this fucking issue is this much because of fucking Dazzler. What are
because
people
of
thinking Dazzler's gonna happen?
Don't talk shit on my
It
girl.
will
Dazzler.
happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love
It will
I
Dazzler.
like
happen.
Dazzler, but like, look, it's her first appearance. But again, like, I don't see movie stuff happening. And
So
people were like,
it's because they announced that Marvel announced that we have the mutants and people are like, oh my god, and now everybody wants all the X-Men that I needed to buy.
Mhm.
So now I'm fucked because now I have to
Literally,
if I
every
want
time
them
I
I
walk
have
into a new shop, my first thing is Dazzler. Sorry,
I love
I have a lot
Dazzler.
of lag on my side. I don't mean to like talk over you.
Oh no, don't worry, we get it.
Disco Dazzler, especially like with the roller skates, is so fucking crazy.
Did you guys see the Ex Necrotia Dazzler I randomly found last week? Hey, you want to
see
pull
that.
my Necrotia Dazzler? My lovely assistant Bike Zombie is listening to us and literally delivering me things as we're talking about that.
Hi, Bike Zombie.
Everyone says hi. He'll come cameo.
I honestly was going to ask him to come on with us just since he's probably
Do
hanging
you want
there.
to say hi? He's here. I'll just have him come on over.
Bring him on.
He's
We
wearing
had a
his,
guest appearance by Jen's partner.
basketball
his head at the end.
I made him go in the other room because we have a deaf dog named Echo, and he really likes my
Aw.
YouTube corner because everything's really soft and fuzzy. So he'll sit in front of my desk and just like an earthquake because he's like scratching himself and stuff like that.
Every now and again, my cat makes an appearance, and it's always awkward.
I'm currently trying to get my deaf cat to come up here, and it looks like.
Oh, you have a deaf kitty?
Mhm.
I don't know where
I
Alice
went
is.
today, and there was a deaf Chihuahua mix, and I was like, "Oh my god, let's adopt it!" And the lady was like, "He an ornery old man. You do not want to take him home."
Yeah.
The Ex Necrotia Dazzler. It should be in the stack that you took off my desk earlier from the last video.
I love that you know exactly what stack it is. Like me, it'll be like, I don't know, it's somewhere over there.
So when I know I'm gonna make a video and I'm not quite ready to do it yet, I have these little bins and I put everything in the bin that I'm gonna be talking about in the video. And then
like
he
Nat.
took my whole desktop computer over here from my office so that I could do StreamYard with you guys. And he had to move all my stacks from the last video, and it's in the stack from the last video. He's an angel. It's somewhere. Don't wait for us. I'm listening. Y'all keep on going.
So, I kind of wanted to also say, like, that bald lady that shows up with her teats out is creepy as fuck.
Dude, I did not remember that at all. Well, the whole book I did not remember it, but damn.
And until they verified it was a lady, I thought it was just like a bald meth head hillbilly dude, and then they were like, "Oh no, this is Clara, and she's got some special sauce for you."
Well, reading this, especially with those moments, it reminded me a lot of the autumnal that came out this last
Yes.
year. And I remember comparing it to Witches while reading it, but then like really reading this, I feel like there's so many books, and I don't know if it's like becoming a trope now, but I feel like especially the Sailor Rook, the young daughter moving to a new town and bringing the past with her type thing. Like I feel like I've read a lot of books recently that kind of do that, but this is the first one recently that I can remember like that. But I would say
autumnal very much has that vibe. Now that you mention it, like the art's not quite the same, but like the tone,
it's a little bit still kind of scratchy, and maybe not even necessarily like the colors themselves, but a little bit there.
The kid in the hospital who calls the mother out, where he like wakes up, he's like,
all right,
yeah, he's like, you were in an accident too, and she's like, what? He's like, yeah, I was. Yeah, I hit a deer. She's like, what'd you really hit? What? I could smell it on you.
That's giggity.
Someone by you was pledged.
That's when I started suspecting the mother.
Really, the first time I read it, I never even thought that.
No, I thought it was something odd with the mom.
I thought there's something off with mom.
Really? It was at that moment.
Saw when he like gets up off the ground and he's like, psych, like she's in the wheelchair. They automatically made her the victim, like the least likely to be suspected. So I immediately suspect the least likely. Obviously.
I've done that. I didn't do it with this book, but I've done that. Like, okay, so this is the person that you least expect to be the villain. That's the villain. And usually almost all the time, yeah, that's it. I learned that with
from my partner because we'll watch movies and he'll be like, I knew from the beginning that like Can I spoil Squid Game real quick?
No.
I won't spoil Squid Game, but that's when we realized he's smarter than me, was when we finished Squid Game.
So what did you guys think of the design of the witches themselves? Like, I thought that was an interesting, because it almost looks like the creatures from that movie, The Descent.
I was into it because they didn't go super like typical like green skin old ladies. Let's throw some cauldrons in that bad boy. Like they kind of made it more of like an ambiguous, but also like more creature-y than
it's human. A creature. Yeah, it's a creature. I like that. I think that the first time that's what threw me off the first time. It's because I was expecting the traditional witches thing. Maybe I'm saying maybe that's why it threw me off at first, because I was expecting something different. Rereading it, obviously I see it with different eyes, and although I don't remember the book, maybe knowing that they're creatures and not the traditional witch, that we know, maybe now, since I wasn't expecting that, I could appreciate it better, appreciate it for the horror book that it is, but I did love the how those creatures look, how those witches look creepy as fuck, and that
they're almost like genderless.
That's what I liked about it, was very just like ambiguous, and like I said at first, until they clarified, like, you know what I mean. It was
I also like that the one character is like, you got to put some stank on you.
You got to put some stank on you. Giggity.
You put it in your mouth.
Start walking around with green jello and like smearing it on people and going, pledged is pledged, bitch.
Oh my god.
That's gonna be the Halloween thing. Trick or treaters, pledged is pledged.
Just throwing jello at people.
Like what? Oh, nothing. Just here's some candy.
Here's some candy for you.
Just smearing some honey on you. Mom, this person smeared honey on my face.
It's okay. It's just a blessing. Don't worry about it, kid.
Our new Dune fanatic, Dillbot.
How's Dune going, our friend? Got to change that to Dunebot now.
Yes, I shared your post. I was like, one of us. Did you watch it, Gambit? I know you and your wife must have watched
the movie.
It. Yeah.
Yes, we watched it on Thursday. We went to see it. We went to the only IMAX theater that we could find around us in Merritt Island Mall.
Oh wow!
That's where I saw it.
It's
20 people.
There was I can count them to you because I remember how many people were there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people with us. Like
Lay
for
off
real,
my-
not
lay
not
off
joking.
my
10
girl.
people.
Lay off my girl, Dilbot.
Just wait till you get to Dune Messiah.
So we've worked Dune in now, and
Oh
Yeah.
my god, I was surprised that you
Only an
Drink.
hour. Only took an hour.
Okay, I have a question.
yes,
Ask away.
More a challenge. Okay, as somebody with no Dune knowledge, so let's start with Jennifer. Give me your 30-second spiel on why I need to go to the movies tomorrow and go watch it.
it's fucking beautiful.
It's not going to be 30 seconds, but what I'm going to say is if you haven't read Dune, what I want to say is that Dune did for science fiction what Lord of the Rings did for fantasy. A lot of people will tell you that. And Dune, like, not just for books and not just for like the science fiction genre, but a lot of what we see for very many reasons. It did it for like the film world and like TV shows. So there's going to be a lot of Dune that feels familiar, even if you go into it knowing nothing. Other than being a very big fan of Dune, having read it multiple times, especially like with this group of people, I knew pretty much exactly what was going to happen in this movie, but I was on my seat the entire time. I've watched it twice in theaters and probably 20 times at home now, and every single time I pick something new. As like someone who is obsessed with this, I pick out something new every single time that just makes me appreciate and love it more. Everything from like little Easter eggs from the book to, like I said earlier, like this parallel Star Wars universe type thing. And it's seriously such a good movie. If you love science fiction at all, please go see Dune.
And if you like Oscar Isaac, he's nude in it.
That's the whole movie.
You had
Okay,
me
so-
on
Our friend Sid, that like she horny watched it but loves it.
Yeah.
I can only say Duncan, Idaho. It's not the only thing that I'm going to say about the movie.
Yeah.
It's not even the main thing about the movie, but I don't care. It's Duncan, Idaho. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. And so, you know, there's a lot about this story where it's like, yes, is it about a young white dude with powers or whatever and uses his privilege to be able to colonize a planet? Sure. But in the same way, it's like a critique of that. And goes it gets deep, and
it's really good.
It's
It's
so
way
good.
better than I was expecting, and I was expecting something really good.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
surface-
They greenlit it. Gore.
Yeah.
It's already. It's happening.
Yeah. That was greenlit.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it. I watched it enough on yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it again this week.
But yeah, like I recommend IMAX is the way to watch it. Like it's a beautiful fucking movie. Like I don't ever really tell people you need to see something in a theater, but I felt like this was one of the few.
I watched Guardians of the Galaxy in 2013, 2014 in IMAX, and I'm like, the hype, like, screw it. The hype isn't worth it. I actually got free passes to go see Dune early, and then saw it in IMAX. I will probably, any big movie I ever want to see, I'm going to go see in IMAX now because I had such a fantastic like viewing of Dune in IMAX.
Yeah. Especially since
that's
it was filmed to be in IMAX, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my son, we'll just say little nerdy because I don't like to put him on YouTube, but
That's perfect.
it's always been our thing. He really likes the cinema experience. He likes to go to the movies and pick the perfect seat and get the snacks and this and that. So
That's me. I have the perfect seat. Like I can put my feet up.
Everyone
Like
has a favorite seat, but we have a couple local theaters that, because it's doing so poorly now, on Tuesdays you can go see IMAX movies and stuff like that for $5 or $6.
do it.
Yes,
And nobody's
Tuesday.
there, so you get your perfect seat. And so yeah, we'll go Tuesday. We'll go see Dune, and I'll hit you up, Jennifer. I'll tell you what I thought about it.
I need to know, like, as soon as you safely, like, you know, get home, and like, I want to know everything about how you feel about Dune.
So it's like 2 hours 45 minutes, but like the first 2 hours actually fly fucking by. Like
Oh, I didn't notice.
it's crazy.
I didn't notice it was that long.
I have a job for you, though. I'm one of those people where 2 hours and 45 minutes is too fucking long for me to not have a pee break. So I need like a minute span that you can tell me that is safe for me to get up and take a pee break.
There is no minute span.
If I will be honest with you.
It's relentless.
I am one of those people, like, if I go to the movie theater, even going to an hour and a half long movie theater, I have to, the reason I pick where my seat is because I will probably go to the bathroom twice during a movie. I didn't get up once. I've seen this movie twice in theaters, neither time. Got up.
I was yourself and cross your legs and set myself up because there's no time.
I was so engrossed in it.
Take a bottle with you.
Yeah. Yep.
And I will say this: if you get hooked into the Dune universe, we have a little Dune show. You
read the saga show, and
read
then
the book.
we'll talk on Wednesday about the Dune show. Deal?
But if you decide to read it, we have 2 seasons now of the Dune show. We talk a lot about fucking furniture in it.
Furniture?
Yeah. It's an integral part of the Dune world.
This dude, the way George R.R. Martin talks about food, this guy talks about furniture. It's fucking weird.
Don't let that. There's literally nothing to do in the movie. Like, this will not be a part of the movie whatsoever.
No, don't worry about it.
So don't let that cloud it. But yeah, the way
get into furniture.
We're gonna feng shui and interior design the fuck out of a comic. Like,
you will see them make coffee in this movie, and you're gonna get a little ill watching them make coffee.
Really?
Sleepy reader, you can watch this without reading the book.
Yes,
that's a great question.
No,
that's something I always.
And I feel like watching it, you'll get an idea of the characters in your head. So as you're reading it, you can read in their voice.
You can read it. You can read it you can watch it without reading the book because I have not read the book.
It filled in the blanks.
And I enjoy this movie a whole lot. Like it is as someone who just loves movie, it is a really good movie. This is not comparing it to the book. This is not saying, oh, the book is better or this is better than the book, whatever. No. As a movie, forget about that. A book exists. Imagine that this is a movie that's in the theater and you don't know anything about it. You don't know that there's a book. You know, when you watch a movie and at the end you go like, oh shit, this is based on a comic book. I'm gonna have to go check it out now. Just think about that. You watch the movie and then you go like, oh shit, it's based on a really old book. Let me go check it out.
And
but if you go see it without the book in your head, you are totally gonna enjoy the movie. You're not gonna be like, I don't get this, because it's very, 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 very clear. It's very good. It's very well done. Like, I am legit surprised that it was that well done.
It's the Sad Boy Solstice, and then we get Robert Pattinson for Sad Boy Spring.
Yeah. Also, if you feel like you do need to read it but can't commit to reading it, there's a Dune graphic novel, and this graphic novel here basically stops at the same point that the movie does. Like, pretty much same exact point.
So reading the book, there's parts you'll sit there and go, I wish they had added this. But
I'm so critical about movies for that reason.
Nothing game breaking. It's nothing game breaking. It's like a line here, a line there, and you're like, I would have liked them to have it in.
Yeah.
But nothing, the acting overcomes so much of it.
Look at Gambit flexing over here.
Well, Gambit.
I mean, I have to.
Gambit did the sandworm on my arm. He tattooed it on me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, but that poses a great question I have for you guys. I don't have a good answer for this. Has there ever been a comic or book-based movie that you saw that you wished you hadn't read the book first? Because it ruined the movie for you.
It's usually all the way around. I see a movie and I go like, oh man, I wish I haven't watched this movie.
I know it. Whiteout by Greg Rucka.
Hey.
Okay, elaborate.
So Kate Beckinsale, fucking beautiful, horribly cast in that role.
Really?
The script, they nerfed the character to the point where I did not think she had the agency that she has in the book. Greg Rucka, for those who are not in the know, he loves strong female characters. He writes queer characters better than most. he must have someone in his life who is LGBTQIA like plus.
YA.
What is YA? No.
IA.
IA. I said
Got that
IA.
alphabet. Oh, I thought you said YA, and I'm
No,
like,
I said
that's young-
IA.
Oh,
No,
I thought I heard
not
YA.
young adult.
I was like, young adult. No, that it
No.
worked.
but-
Young adult.
So he's written between Batwoman and even Old Guard and Renee Montoya in Gotham Central, which could be cringy at times because of Two-Face. There's someone in his life who is queer, and I feel he goes to them for information.
Yeah.
And to have the character in that not be as well written as it is in the book
the comic
bothered
book.
me.
Yeah. I mean, I can appreciate that. That's definitely a problem.
Or even the Batwoman TV show, like Kate
I haven't seen
Kane
it.
is not as good as she should be.
No.
That's because it was a whole hostile work environment for everybody. So they're just like, fuck it, let's just get this
Yeah,
thing
I
over.
heard that. I mean, I read that the other day. It's like apparently
There's
it's
a
a
lot of
shit
back
show
and
to
forth
work on that
happening.
thing. It's like, damn. That's
People are
not
getting
cool.
hurt and paralyzed and shit, and then they're like, all right,
Yeah.
your close up. Like they butchered all those characters because
I
there's
also
bad
want to give a
tone
shout out
across
to one of our guests, Carla Nappy, who writes Duplicant. She's been very big on the workplace safety for crew on movies because she is actually one of them and the crazy hours they work. And if you're not reading Duplicant, fantastic book.
Yeah.
She's got it on Kickstarter. There's a catch up now for 1 through 5 on physical or PDF. It's $18 for all 5 of them. Just it's a good book. It's a really good book and great interview with us. So that's my weird like, hey, by the way, check this out.
It's not weird
Always-
at all, man.
I can't believe we're still like not even halfway through this book.
I'm gonna mute you for a second because I am that old lady that needs a bathroom break. So y'all
That's
can
fine. Holy shit, we're at hour 12. Fuck.
In hour 12, and we have talked about a bunch of stuff.
But
That's
not
pretty
the book.
cool, but not the book.
So
I guess it's cool somehow, right? Let's get back on track. Wytches.
Sailor's Diary is so heartbreaking.
Yes, right. Yes, I agree. It is heartbreaking.
And I like to know at this time it's not a live journal or dead journal. Jen's smiling because she knows exactly what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
So live journal was a thing for a while, and then
Ah.
it became dead journal because no one used live journal anymore.
Well, I think that they were both simultaneous, and it was like the goth kids and the emo kids definitely used Dead Journal, and were also like on like vampirefreaks.com and stuff like that. I may or may not have been one of them.
But
this,
like her
moment. This
Oh.
is the moment where I was like, no shit.
Who's Sailor?
Who's Sailor? I was like, no, I am not going to die. Come on.
There's a
come on.
hole in my neck. That's what it feels like. A hollow with a second me living in there. A sick me with her own thoughts, her own dreams. All she wants is one thing: to go back to them, the things in the woods. Like,
It's like it's just a lump, girl.
mom and dad think I'm crazy. Maybe I am. I hope I am. I pinch the lump, and it's just a lump. It has no pulse, no teeth. I hope it's a tumor. Let it be a tumor. Please be a
Please
tumor.
be a
Someone
tumor.
cut it out.
That shit hit me. That part where
And
that,
then
I hope
chit,
it's a
chit,
tumor.
chit,
Please be a
chit, chit.
tumor.
The chit got me, man. Like it made me physically uncomfortable when I was reading, and the chit would interrupt the flow of consciousness. I'm like,
But I think that's on purpose. I think the idea is that it's to throw you off.
and I like
Nope.
writing like that like throws you off and like makes you physically uncomfortable.
Yes.
because it's
Yes.
hard to do that in like in a horror comic book. I think like as much as I do love horror and like comics, I think it's hard to do because in movies like we get the sound, we get pacing, but it's hard to do pacing and you don't get sound in a comic book. So I think that things like that really like chill you and like get underneath your skin, quite literally, like
Yeah.
with this book.
There's a game called Last of Us, and there's these things called clickers in it, and that's what it reminded me of. He was like, and then the clickers would like make this clicking sound.
Huh. I've never played Last of Us. I have to play it.
But the map showing up on
The map thing was really
stomach,
weird. The map showing up in his stomach was really weird. Something that I thought something that I was not expecting was this.
Yeah.
When he goes into the woods and he makes the sheriff take him, take him to the tree,
Put it up again. I'll put you on solo layout so you can I can show everything.
And then he goes and he goes like, oh, I can survive anything, blah blah, and he goes and tells all like whatever.
Hits him with a rat
like,
shot.
And then he just bam, and he just shoots him like there, like okay, so
bitch.
yep. And then he goes and he puts all this thing all over himself, and they make sure that you see in the panel here that he's just putting it on his mouth, and you're like, that's fucking gross. Like,
So did you feel sick too when he actually did put it in his mouth?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
Make sure you put it in your mouth because they can smell your breath. I'm like, he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it. And then he did it, and I was like,
here's something that I really like about that whole page. Not only does he kills the sheriff, the moment he just goes in there, he just shoots the sheriff, like bam, that's it, and he jumps immediately to getting naked and start putting this thing on his on. He did not hesitate. He didn't think about it twice. He went like blah blah blah, and he put his hand in his mouth, and all that bullshit in, like he did not hesitate. And that just tells you one thing: he's not playing any more games. He's like fuck everything. At this point, I have literally nothing to lose. He just shot the sheriff, and one of two things can happen at that moment. It's like all this could be in my head. I can only think what he's thinking right now at that moment. It's like all this could be in my head, and I'm killing someone because I went crazy, or this is actually happening, and I'm killing someone because I need to save my kid. So I'm not gonna take any chances. I'm just gonna shoot this dude, put all this shit, and put that shit in my mouth. That's disgusting, and no hesitation whatsoever. He just that.
That's the moment where we're like, for me at least, he's not that shitty bully asshole dad. He is like ride or die dad.
Yes,
yeah.
That's the moment where you go like, okay, well, back then he was drunk. I guess I can not hate him that much
because he response one time and it sucked. But now look at him.
He grew past that.
That part when the Ferris wheel broke my heart. Like it really was just. But I think someone who had a shitty dad, like the mocking and shit like that, like just it hit a weird place with me.
Yeah, I get it. Shitty parents that get drunk are shitty parents, no matter what.
Also, in your opinion, did this feel like it was written very cinematic, kind of like Mark Miller, where it feels like it was made to be turned into a movie?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, could be.
I feel like while they were writing it, they're like, "This is it."
Because I know
I can definitely see it as a movie.
Brad Pitt's company optioned it. I want to say it was A24.
Okay.
Is the one Brad Pitt? Oh God, the fucking mother. Ooh.
Don't get me started on her.
Fuck that bitch.
Like I feel like Dad had like one segment where they portrayed him as an asshole, and then the whole rest of the book he's redeemed. And
yes,
but Mom is like, "Oh, I'm the victim," but the whole.
But it explains the beginning also.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that as much as I hated that scene on the Ferris wheel, we needed to see that scene because we needed to to
The
be able
redemption.
to. Yes, we needed to see him do these things later, and these things now work because we got to see how low he had fallen at some point, you know, and he realized how fuck up he was, and he moved past it, and he grew past it, and I think that that's all. I mean, we can do is just grow past our mistakes, you know, and get better about them, and I think they really did a good job. Yes, that moment
It's
there.
a
Oh
sweet
yeah, that
moment.
moment. Yes, you know, it's because it's like, yes, god damn it, yes.
It was kind of nice that they brought everything full circle,
Mm-hmm.
like especially with the beginning, because again, as Adriana said, like that beginning hooks you in because that little fucking kid clocking his mom in the head with the rock and just saying pledged is pledged.
Yeah.
I pledge that kid right now.
Oh, it's like, listen here, you little shit, get me out of this fucking tree.
Malcolm. I haven't seen Malcolm in forever since we did the weekly show.
Oh,
I
my
tried to get
God.
Echo to come over, but he's very camera shy, and for a deaf dog, he's very perceptive. Like if you
My
hold the
cat
phone
is
up, he knows
passed out
you're
on my coffee table. Like Bradford is just like, fuck you, you're in there. I'm not going in there. After he made Jen do cat facts, he's just like, I'm done. I'm not participating.
Alistair is here somewhere. I heard her. I heard her earlier, but I don't know where she went.
The part with
Nerdy has a one-eyed cat named Justin. So his grandma said, you can pick out, we're going to go to the cat cafe. We have a cat cafe here where you go and like they have the adoptable cats.
Aww.
And she said, you can have a cat at your house because of the dog, but you can pick out any cat you want and have it at my house because he goes and spends a lot of time at her house. I don't think she had any indication that she was going to end up with a one-eyed cat named Justin for the rest of her life, but here we are.
Well, she does
I
not.
can't
She
go to
has
those cat cafes. I would end up being like, you're cute. You're cute.
Dude, for real.
We had that problem with dog people today. We went to Kroger's to pick up a prescription, and there was a rescue out front. There was like a dog named Gypsy who had a wheelchair, and then there was a
oh my God.
Oh my God. We were just standing there like, oh my God, we can't do it, but we want to do it.
It's like, stop it.
The
Don't
part
do
here
that.
with the dad busting out of the tree stump. Like it's a weird birth where he's just like busting out of it with Sailor, and they get back to the house, and that's honestly his redemption really happens.
Mm-hmm.
And Sailor, like, I fucking feel so bad, but at the same time I feel so good for her because she kind of gets her revenge on the town.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
With the sprayer full of pledge.
Okay, that's my only complaint about the book, and I know
They don't explain it.
that I'm negative, but I have negative things to say about that.
Of course.
Say them.
It felt lazy. It felt like the end
Very
of
much.
Dexter, where they're like, all right, we don't have any ideas, so let's pick this easy thing, and we're just gonna make it happen. And
They Snydered the shit
as a
out of this.
homeowner, I don't know how that could have conveniently and easily occurred, and logistically how we hit everybody in the crowd. Like it felt lazy to me, just that one little piece. So
that mom trying to emperor him. I
Is he
love her,
frozen for
but
everybody or just me?
No. He froze there for a second. Yeah, he froze there for a second.
but
I
like,
heard it was Mom Emperor, and then you're like,
oh, the mom is like the emperor from Star Wars. Was like, join me and fuck Sailor. Like,
Yeah.
I can walk again. We could have another one.
yeah.
Man, that makes me that.
Pop a couple more out. We'll be all right.
That makes me think. You know, I mean, if I'm you know in a wheelchair suddenly, you know, because of an accident and which turns out it was tied to, you know, it's something that it was bound to happen to her.
The
no
craze
matter
in
what.
1919.
Yeah. I don't think I don't think I would have, you know, the heart to say I pledged my own daughter or my own son just so I could walk.
Her even
I don't know if I
blaming
could-
him for the witch showing up.
Right? It's like, bitch, what? This has everything to do with you. What?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of fucked up, but okay, you're saying his base needs and anger drew the witch there.
And that's kind of another whole commentary on the mental health issues is like the mom treated her so damaged and disposable, and it's like, it's okay, this one's broken, let's pledge it and
let's make a new one. Fuck it, we can get rid of this one.
Better, you know. And that was very, like, I don't know, just kind of heartbreaking to me that she was treated like she was just like a little token that could be given.
To be fair, it wasn't until that moment that mom treated her that way. You know, we actually never see her treating her daughter, and I don't think we never see her interacting with her daughter at any point.
It's just that particular moment. It's like,
which I should have read into that, the fact that the mother never interacted with her.
Yeah. You know, I didn't pick up on that until like literally right now. And I'm like, wait a second. She never interacts with that girl at all in the book until that moment when she comes up from the basement after she pushes her. She comes up and she hears everything that she had to say. It's like, what the fuck, mom? It's like, what the fuck,
after
mom?
the father sacrifices herself, it goes to the flashback. He's like, I'm scared for what you go through, what you will go through. You make me scared, and that's hard, yes. But more than this, more than anything, you make me brave. You're the bravest person I know, Sale. And the truth is, this story, the whole thing, it's about you. It always has been, and it always will be, because you're my hero, Sale, in every sense. And that's it. Time for the next chapter. Done.
Yes.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that ending, it's so good and it's so powerful, and it could easily be like its own thing. But then knowing that, like,
that they were intentions of doing more.
Yeah, then I'm like, how were they going to pick it up? But so anyway, I'm kind of okay if we never get it at this point. Like,
the weird thing is the script's done
at the same time.
The script is done, supposedly, according to Snyder. Like, it's all in Jock's hands, and that's
show us the proof,
right?
He's gonna take a picture with him with a script that says Wytches too, and that's it. You know,
I think he did. I could have sworn that he did at some point. Or
oh yeah,
the extras were pretty good with Snyder explaining the whole impotence.
Go back.
Yes.
Go back.
I go back to what?
There's more to be said about that last page before we jump to the extra.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So that was where Bike Zombie came and suggested that with that last page, it opened up interpretation to whether or not this was, okay, this is what actually is happening, or is this some kind of lucid situation for one of the two main characters? You know, where I said, okay, but you see Luce in the wheelchair in that scene, so this is clearly a flashback in my interpretation.
It's a flashback.
In my
she's younger.
But he brought up the argument that it is possible that some other people have the interpretation that this kind of suggests that not all of this actually occurred, which is, it's a very
that would be a fucking
reach, but it suggests that it's possible, you know.
Also, is it weird that he had the tattoo of the fucking Ferris wheel on his arm?
I don't
like a reminder of I fucked up.
This one time I was a dick.
Yeah.
I think no, I don't think it's weird that he has that, because it's a very important moment in his life. You know, it's something that changed his life happened while he was there. He has a very powerful meaning and for him, you know, and as someone who has had to do a lot of significant tattoos for people, I can see how something like that can be, you know, something that you want to, you know, like, no, every time I feel like I'm fucking up, every time I will see that and I remember, no, I don't want to be back there. I don't want to get to that point again. I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to fall that low again, you know.
Yeah.
And as a powerful tool as it is, I don't think it's weird that he has it, you know. I wouldn't have done a Ferris wheel that, I mean, let me not say anything about the tattoo, because honestly, it has to be that simple for it to be, you know, translated into comic book art, you know, in order to be drawn panel. Every panel you have to make it, you know, drawable. So, but yeah, I would have chosen a different Ferris wheel design for the tattoo.
But
That's all.
doesn't
That's my
also
only
have
critique.
some significance to like the stories he's writing too.
It does. It does. But
Yes.
I think that everything, for him, I think that for him using that Ferris wheel as part of his book too is it's all tied
Symbolic to
together.
that.
It's all tied together. It's how he manages to handle that moment in his life and work through it and move forward.
Which I
He
need to
created
add, he
positive
was a
energy
children's
with
book
it.
writer.
What was that?
He's a children's book artist,
Yes.
writer.
I thought that was kind of funny that they did that, because I feel like, of course, writers do that all the time. Like Stephen King wrote about writers all the time, so it's like, who did that, right?
I love these trades because I love the process, inks to colors that they did in
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I'm fascinated by the process sometimes, and Matt Hollingsworth again did a fantastic job with this. And
Oh yeah. That's what when I started collecting trade paperbacks, it was because of that. It's like the special features on DVDs, being able to. It's so messy, but it works together so well.
Yeah.
I like how it progresses. It gets dirtier and dirtier and dirtier and dirtier. The more you keep, each page that you flip, it gets more messy and dirtier. Once we
It
get
really
past
does.
once we get past this page, pledge is pledge. We immediately go to that first page of the current story, and it's very
Clean.
clean. It's very clean and very very light and very open and very warm and welcoming. And then suddenly you start keep a few pages later, this deer decides to fucking throw up in their study, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's
And I also think that goes to, like, with some of these stories, purposely you're picking artists who have like a grimy style, like
Yes.
Preacher, Steve Dillon. Maybe not like your normal artist you'd want on a regular book,
No.
but he had a distinctive style that fit that book. Gabriel Rodriguez on Lock and Key, Love or Hate, he has a distinctive style that is almost in that Steve Dillon mold a little bit, not as clean. I see you, Jen.
Yeah.
I got
Sorry,
used
not
to it.
sorry. Yeah.
I got used to it. I thought it improved later on in some of the later books, which I believe you said even on the Sandman Lock and Key, it improved quite a bit.
Yeah, I haven't read any of that after the
Yeah.
first trade.
Well,
Did it improve, Jen?
It did, but at the same time, it wasn't enough for me to be like wowed by the art by any means. Yeah.
His covers are better than his interiors. I'll put it that way.
That's kind of common though. Like, there's a lot of artists that their covers are like way better than their interiors because they just have that one thing that they're focusing on and they're making that one thing perfect.
But I've heard people say Steve Dillon's art is horrible. But
Well,
for Preacher,
you don't need that kind of
fit.
negativity in your life, and you tell them they can.
But
fuck off.
for Preacher and Punisher, it fit perfectly. Like,
Yes.
it's almost like the artist Frank Whiteley. You're gonna get a big chin, no matter what.
No matter
that
what.
dude's gonna have a fucking giant ass chin, and you're gonna be like,
Crimson.
for Superman, it fit. For All-Star Superman, Cyclops had the biggest fucking chin known to man.
No, I love his work on X-Men, but I love his work no matter what.
You have to adjust it. Like Chris Bachalo, I've heard people just jam on nonstop, and I love his art. His magic is one of my favorite magics.
Yeah, I like his work too.
I literally have her tattooed on my leg that you did.
Hey.
So when am I coming to see you for some ink? Because you
Whenever
have
you
got
want
it
to.
talked up today.
Come to Cape Canaveral.
Whenever
Cocoa
you want
Beach.
to.
Go to the
wait.
Space Center.
Wait, let me stop you right there. As of November 1st, I will be working at Blue Opal Tattoo.
Where?
Still in the area.
Yeah, Merritt Island, Blue Opal Tattoo. I'm moving. Tomorrow is my last day at 13 Waves Tattoo in Cocoa Beach.
Okay, so make sure you DM me when we're off here and give me an address because I do quite a bit of traveling and I go south a lot. So
okay, yeah, I'll send you the location in a minute.
By the way, when you
I've got to hop off. Bye guys.
Okay.
Oh.
Bye.
I'll talk to you after I watch Dune.
By the way, when you finally get rid of a certain person, I have to know because shit's gonna go crazy at work probably.
Shit.
I already warned people.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I already warned people at work. Like, just, hey, like, by the way, I tried to talk them out of this.
So Wytches.
Wytches.
Yes.
Would you recommend Wytches to someone?
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I would. Because, like we discussed at the beginning, I was kind of a Scott Snyder newbie. But then when you messaged me earlier that he retweeted, I was like, oh.
Yeah, so 7,000 people looked at this fucking tweet that I put out because you retweeted it.
I literally was Wikipediaing him because I was like, this was my first venture down Scott Snyder.
No wonder you were so nervous.
Yes, but this was the ideal starting point. Like now I'm literally like, okay, what am I going to read next? Like it was incredible.
There is another one he did about a serial killer.
All right. That
I actually think is one of his most masterful works. I'll send it to you later, the title.
Do that.
It's kind of like Jason Aaron, his Severed book.
Okay.
Might be one of his better works besides Southern Bastards, and Southern Bastards is such a make you feel dirty book. Mm-hmm. Jason Aaron's one of those guys. He's another one that likes to make you feel bad reading his work.
I love his work. He's one of my favorite writers right now. It's insane. I think his run on Thor was one of the best things I've read in the last 20 years.
Since Walt Simonson, it's the best I've.
Yes, it's anything that has his name on it, I will pick it up because I know it's the same thing I do with Miller. It's to the point that I know that I'm going to enjoy it. Although I'm a little bit angry at Miller at the way
Magic Order coming out next week. Yes, I can't wait.
That's how me and Bike Zombie met. Magic Order.
So that was one of the first episodes of Inked Panels when Gambit and I started. We did it, and I didn't realize how much I enjoyed that book until we started talking about it. And Cordelia, I would marry that, even though she's a fucking disaster.
We're the best. Us disaster girls, man. No, when I had posted that I was looking for a Magic Order book way back.
That was it. Severed is the Scott Snyder book. That was
I have heard of Scalps. But so Bike Zombie messaged me and was like, I have that cover you're looking for and a couple others. I'll send them to you. And I was like, all right, well, let me send you some money. And he's like, no, you're good. He sent me all of the Magic Order plus some like variant covers. And he put like a cute little picture in the box, which I still have. And he sent me fruit stripe gum and stuff. And like,
nice.
That's what sparked our friendship. And in 4 days, we've been together for 3 years because of Magic Order.
Fuck, man.
Weirdly, the stupid book club show that Gambit and I started probably led to me and my ex getting together, and now I'm kind of questioning the fact that we started the show. But it's weird because we started the show just because we wanted to get through our fucking read pile, and then it was like, hey, we love this book. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Yes, we started the show to get through to go through our read piles, and my read pile just keeps getting bigger, and we keep choosing books that none of us have in our collection, so we just keep adding more books to the collection.
But what I love about this is very much my style. You have people like Natalie who have the time to read all of this week's books, where I'm reading Chew, not CHU. CHEW, like I'm that far behind where I'm like, okay, well, this is an older book.
I hated that book.
Like issues to read and stuff. Like, you hated Chew?
I did not love it. Like, it annoyed me. Like, I'm the same person. Why the Last Man annoyed me to no end because I felt it was the same story over and over.
Oh, I love Why the Last Man.
A lowbrow eye zombie for me, and I'm kind of into it.
Which one is that one?
I'm sorry.
Eye Zombie.
Eye Zombie.
No, the other one that you're talking about that you didn't like, Dan.
Why the Last Man?
No, I like Why the Last Man.
Or Chew.
Oh, Chew. So there's an issue of Chew that there's this dude showing off a tattoo on his arm. I did that tattoo. I don't know which issue is it. Yeah, I don't know which issue is it, but I know I saw it. I never bought it, but I saw he showed it to me and said, dude, check this out. The tattoo is in the comic book.
They didn't credit you or pay you
No,
for it?
no, it wasn't credited or anything. But it doesn't matter, really. It doesn't matter.
Issue, I'm gonna send it to you, okay?
I don't know which issue is it.
I will send it to you.
Adriana, so there's only two people I trust doing my art, and it's him and his studio mate Andrew are the only people I have do my art. Yeah. So all my horror stuff Andrew does, and then Gambit does all of my comic book art.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you can check my website whenever you have a chance. I'll send you the links later.
He sells prints too,
Gambit
and sketchbooks.
I used to have a girl in Charleston that I loved named Betsy, and I ran into her at C2E2, and she was like an official Star Wars tattooer now.
Oh.
And I have one guy here, Tony, at One Shot Tattoo, who did all my comic stuff. But I want to come see you and my friend CJ. Who he's
CJ Cook
girl for me. So.
CJ Cook?
No, he goes by Mondo.
Okay, no, it's not the same. Okay.
So I was laughing that you were in Jacksonville because I was like, oh man, you're like 3 hours away from us.
So next time when I'm there longer, I'll definitely make a trip down. We were visiting my mom, and we only get to see her once a year. So, and she watches all my YouTube. So, hi, Mom. I love you.
But yeah, if you come down to the Cape Canaveral and do the whole Space Center visit, totally come hang out.
Yeah, let us know.
Well, my brother's probably building a car for me in Jacksonville right now, and I'm going to have to fly down and pick it up. So, drive down and see you in my new Subaru.
Fuck yeah.
But, so what would you give this out of 10? What would your rating be?
Me?
Starting with her.
All right.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me personally, if I was just offering it to somebody exactly like me, I would give it a 9. But I think that people who think very straightforward and they have a hard time with things that are not very linear and very clear cut, they might have a little bit of trouble staying on story. So for somebody like that, I would give it more of a 7, because those are going to be the people that are going back a couple pages like, what did I miss? Where are we now? Why are we here? You know what I mean? But where I picked up on the subtle color changes and stuff to delineate where we're at in the story, I don't know that everybody would do that.
That's funny. I had 2 different grades for it too, because there's the one I initially gave it when I read it, and then there's the one I give it now because I think my headspace is different of where I was.
It's a headspace thing for sure.
Because of things I went through in the last year and a half, where the harassment kind of abuse thing, where I didn't realize before how heavily layered it was into it. It's out there. It's fucking right after on Front Street. I don't know how I even missed it before.
Because you had not had the experience that you had that you have had past that, it's just your experiences are different. That's why now you get to see it with different eyes. You're gonna pick up on subtleties and things that you didn't before because of going through those experiences. And I
like that. That's the experienced reader versus the new reader. You're like, that's fair. That's 100% fair, because again, the panel layout also is kind of not friendly.
It's not very straightforward. So you have to have a creative mind like we have to follow that. But also, like you were just saying, you can now relate to it in ways that you couldn't before. Whereas I may have the connections to it about, that parent having that frustration and that hopelessness over their teenage child having these mental
health
health
Gambit
problems.
are both parents, so that totally makes sense.
People without kids aren't going to have that same relatable experience with it that I am. So me, where I am in life, who I am as a person, see this in a higher regard than maybe somebody who's 18 with perfect mental health.
Your partner just started following me on Instagram. just got the notice.
Wait, who followed you on Instagram?
Your partner.
Julian did.
Yeah.
Hi, baby. Come downstairs and say hi.
Hello.
So Gambit, I'll have you go next on this.
So, I was, you know, I didn't think about it from two. I honestly don't have two ratings for it. I have only one rating. I know when I read it the first time, I had enjoyed the book. I was a little bit with it when it ended, but I think it was because of my own expectations of the book, and not because of the book was of any bad quality or anything like that. Having read it again, you know, with different eyes, I enjoy it more this time. And I think, like I was saying earlier, the fact that I know in the back of my head, although I didn't remember the book, in the back of my head, I kind of know what these creatures are. You know, I'm not expecting something different. I know what I'm expecting now. I'm expecting this creepy, dark, you know, deep book, you know, and I would say I would give it an 8 as easy, and I would recommend this depending on who's asking. I would recommend it because it's not for a. I don't think it's for an inexperienced reader. You know, this is for someone who has read books before. I mean, not books, comic books before, and is familiar with not just the superhero genre of comic books. It's familiar with the other stuff, you know, and it's familiar with different styles of storytelling than like you said, than the, you know, 4-color superhero stuff.
Dan would like to thank you for being his newest follower.
Hey, how's it going, man?
And
I've
Gambit-
seen you all the time on Instagram, and I just never interact.
He's a very lazy Instagrammer lately. I don't know if you noticed, but he hasn't
I
posted
am too.
in over a month. So him not following people is not necessarily a personal thing. It's just he's very lazy about it.
Like literally,
Why does it look like
lazy
you're
as
on a
fuck.
green screen?
Yeah.
It does look like you're on a green screen. That's true.
This is
Looks like
strange.
like
Echo's here too, but he's very camera shy. Let's see if we can get him in there.
Well, if he ever wants to come on, if we do something he wants to, you both can come on.
you're more than welcome.
Hi,
You're gonna
We
be
got a dog.
you're gonna be on camera whether you like it or not, dog. You see,
He hates the camera. He knows when you're looking at
My
him.
cat's the same way.
Yep.
He gets pissy. I mean, he hated my roommate for a month.
my Alistair is like that.
You just
She
licked off
knows
half
when
my
you're
makeup.
taking a.
Oh no,
picture.
Sid literally videotaped him sitting outside the door, like scowling at her. Like she took his room and wouldn't let him in. She locked the door.
Oh, poor thing.
So
This
like
is why I don't
literally
have cats. They're very complex in their emotions.
she woke up to get coffee and he was just sitting out there with his legs crossed, just standing, staring at the door.
It's like soon. It's like
She said they were gonna be best friends. She lied.
soon.
For me, like I think this is like an A24 horror movie. It's very layered.
Mhm.
And if you're not looking for it or you're not in the mindset, you might just pass over it. And to me, this was very Mark Millar. Like it's made for the screen.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so too. I feel like that's
There were definite intentions to
Yeah.
try and make this a movable story.
And I think this is one that requires about 2 readings to get kind of the depth, because you can breeze through it and get one thing and then go through the second time, like this time for me, and I was like, okay, I kind of relate to this. This is fucked up.
it reads really fast. I'm surprised
Yes.
at how fast it reads.
Mhm.
And like I said earlier, it right from the beginning, Snyder does not wait and doesn't drag it out. It's like, no, we're not here to cut through the chit chat. We're straight to the point. This is what's up. Page 3, This is where you're in. Page 6, you have a deer vomiting in the studio. What?
I'm Snyder.
That's
I'm
why.
here to fuck shit up.
That's why I compared it a little bit to a Mark Miller script, because Mark Miller, it's just like magic order. You're in this, you're going,
Yeah.
and you're gonna fucking love this or you're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
And like, listen, you put Cordelia at that birthday party where she gets drunk and fucks the husband. Like,
I love Cordelia.
it doesn't get better. Like, she is my wifey.
Ride or die.
Yeah. I think I'm at about the 8.0, 8.5 range. Again, like, I think it depends on your mindset where you're at when you read it. But the first time you read it, it's pure horror, and then the second time you read it, it's like, oh, it's like Hereditary.
Deeper, right?
Peeling back the onion the second time around.
Yeah. And for you to get in your first read around, like, I didn't get it on my first read, but I read it by single issues originally, so I didn't read it as a trade like all the way through.
Yeah.
So maybe I missed a little bit on that.
That's why I read the way I do, because I need a handful of issues, and then I can just breeze through it. Because if you leave a gap in between these crucial parts of the story, I don't think it connects the same way. I just don't.
There's a few books like that. I think it reads better as a trade than it actually does as. I would actually
read them individually, but I agree.
I would actually weirdly say Chrononauts was one that read better as a trade.
I think everything Mark Miller reads better as a trade. Especially those 4-issue series that he does, you know, when it's just a short 4-issue miniseries, it reads better as a trade. Even 6 issues, it reads better as a trade. It's when he does it, the longer stuff, is that when I feel like you get a little bit more out of him. But his Miller Word stuff, I love it, and I again buy it just because he says his name. I immediately buy it. But it feels like he gives you issue 1, issue 2, and then issue 3 and 4 is like super fast. Like, we need to cram as much as we can in the end. There it goes. Oh, that's it. We're done. Shit, you know, like he starts at this pace, and then suddenly he like, I need to finish it in 3 panels. Bam! There it goes.
And it was like, you know, slow, fast.
There was a 2-year span, Gore, where it felt like everybody was releasing horror titles, and Nailbiter is one of my favorites. Josh Williamson has been so kind to me. Afterlife with Archie, Sabrina, Rachel Rising was great. Crossed is good. Yeah, there was a year or two where just horror titles were very prominent, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it all day, every day.
I was actually going to compare this later in a kind of roundabout way to Nailbiter, because we do have some of that similar, like, complexity.
The family issues.
Yeah, the family issues. It's very heavily affecting the adolescence of the town. So there's some loose, I think, connections.
Like, I will always love the Nailbiter crew, because when Gambit was doing my Alice tattoo of the cover of issue 12, that's on my leg, the colorist actually hit me up on Twitter and gave me his color wheel so I can get the hair right for Alice.
That is next level attention to detail right there.
Yeah.
Like, I just tweeted out, I'm getting this tattoo done. Like, I don't know what the actual hair color is. He's like, here's the color wheel. Send it to your artist, and then send me a finished picture. Like,
that was a fun tattoo to do.
And then when we did the Nailbiter issue episode, he actually watched, and he's like, I'm kind of offended you told people to buy the book from Amazon.
I mean, I get him.
Occasionally, I totally have to. Occasionally, you've spent your, due diligence hours trying to get it from your local shops, and it didn't happen. But
in-stock trades has been a fucking problem. Like a month later to get a book.
Yeah, I need Gore to DM me later, because we are BFFs now. My favorite book in my whole collection, I have a leather-bound issue of Crossed. And
Crossed
it's
is
red in
awesome.
box. It's beautiful. I can go pull it real quick if you guys want to talk.
And eventually, I have to do Preacher.
Yes, we have to talk about
Like
Preacher.
Sid will have to be on for that, and
I would love to talk about Preacher.
going through the weird things of like what I would recommend if you like this book.
Oh shit.
And the first book on the top of my list would be oh, there's the Leatherbound.
Oh damn.
It's
Garth
my favorite
Ennis.
book in my whole collection. It's so glary right now. I'm sorry.
Nice.
It's fine. So if I were going to recommend someone who liked this, it would probably be the first thing on my list would be Harrow County. It's witches, it's weird mudmen, it's skinless people. It's fucking creepy as fuck, and it's Cullen Bunn, which if you haven't read The Sixth Gun, I thought was one of his better works.
Yeah, I have to check that one out.
Afterlife with Archie also is like at the top because I think people, because it's Archie, don't pay attention to it.
Yes, don't think that it's going to be a good book. Every time I say Afterlife is with Archie is one of the best things that I've read ever. People go like, "What?"
Yeah, like it's weird. Like Sabrina too was another one that people just kind of passed over. They're like, it's Sabrina the Witch. I was like, no, it's fucking metal as fuck.
And y'all are underestimating the value of some of these covers for these.
Oh, 100%.
Jesus Christ, especially if they're a little spicy. I mean, yeah, we spent some money filling that run.
Yeah. I know you've thought about this one for a lot, Adriana. So, like, what's your you'd recommend if you like this book?
I think a very obvious answer would be Something is Killing the Children, because it's got very similar coloring and messiness, and but it's also got that smart horror thing going for it, where the characters are very complex and there's a lot of relationships happening, and just it immediately, as soon as I picked up Wytches, I was comparing it, which is kind of interesting because you were making comparisons and connections to the people involved with these two books at the beginning of the show, and I was like, makes sense, you know what I mean? So if this is something you enjoyed and it's kind of a short run and you want something with a little more longevity, I would go down that, Something is Killing the Children, House of Slaughter road, because you can continue with it. I also made some connections to like Coraline.
Oh, I would never have drew that connection, but shit.
So like the dynamic with the dad for most of the story kind of immediately connected me to Coraline in more of a loose way, I would say. But I think that if somebody enjoyed this and they're looking for something a little less intense, but still have that like family complexity, then that might be a more digestible option for them.
Gambit?
I have to say, what would I recommend? I would recommend Afterlife
with Archie.
Afterlife with Archie. Thank you, Jesus. That was difficult. I would recommend Sabrina, just not because they're similar, just because it's it's in that dark vibe, scary vibe to it. I honestly, since horror books are not my thing, I can't. I don't have much to compare it with. What was that book that we talk about here? I forgot the name. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. We did a show on it that it has the this character that they show him up in one of the last pages of one of the last issues. It's like a minotaur type of thing that he had like a suit on. It's just like
Black Monday Murders.
Was it Black Monday Murders?
Yes.
Were we just talking about that is not coming back ever?
yes. But and there was, I think that
it had like a ram's head to it. I literally have it tattooed on my. You tattooed them on me.
Yes, no, but it's not that one. It's not that one.
Oh.
Black Monday Murders is another book that I would recommend if you like this, just because of the creepy dark vibe. But it was a book about Man, you know what? I'm gonna remember that book later. I think it had a serial killer type thing of it on him.
Oh,
It was
no, it was Nailbiter. It was the guy who
Nailbiter.
looked
Was
like
it the-
yeah. It
I
was
mean,
the guy
wasn't
who
it
looked like
cheap
Death
too?
Dealer.
Yes, that one. That Nailbiter. That one. That's a book that I would recommend. Yeah.
I think
If you like
Nailbiter is
this.
great for everybody. Like, you don't have to love horror to like Nailbiter. You can be into
Yeah.
like the crime suspense
It was Twin
genres
Peaks
and
meets
still get into
Hannibal.
Twin Peaks meets Hannibal. I like that.
Yeah. There's a little bit
I
of
like that. Twin Peaks meets Hannibal. That's a good comparison.
And the most important question, Gambit, what is your pick for next month?
Ha ha ha! Guess what? I was
big
ready this time. All right, so my pick for next month it's The Night Witches by Garth Ennis, Ross Brown, Tony Aviña, and Simon Bowland. It's about a group of female pilots from World War One, if I'm not mistaken. It was one or two. I think it was the Second World War. Anyway, it's about a group of female pilots that have it's based on a real life thing, and they were known for giving hell to the Germans during the war, and they were called the Night Witches, and it's so that's my pick for next month book club.
That's a
I'm
great
looking-
choice. Now
I'm looking forward to reading it. Because I learned about them through a small, those small snippets on Facebook, and just like someone cut a tweet and just share it as a picture on Facebook. It says the Night Witches, and it gives you small story about the Night Witches and how the pilot alone had a shit ton of hundreds of missions. It's like, what, and it's like, man, I would love to read some. I would watch a series about these female pilots, or I would read a book about it. And a friend of mine was like, have you ever read the book The Night Witches by Garth Ennis? I was like, there's a book. He's like, oh yeah, you should check it out. And he was like, I'm not a fan of Ennis of Garth Ennis, but I know that's a good book. But because when he writes about war, he writes really good about it. It's like, okay, I'm looking forward to that. So this is my pick for next month.
Another
War
family
II.
drama, supernatural kind of thing. A book we did in the past by Gambit's friend Tom Beeland, Chicacabra.
Chicacabra, yeah, that's another good book that if you like, monsters and shit like that, that's a good
It's
book.
a little bit of horror, but it's a lot of like family drama and kind of
Has a lot of heart.
yes. And it was one that kind of took me by surprise, because like you look at the art and you're like, all right, like this is very cartoony, and then you get into the actual writing, and like Jennifer was floored by it, and I was kind of surprised by it. I wasn't expecting to like leave like with my heart broken.
Right, especially for a book that looks cartoonish.
Yes, but I also fell in love with the main character. I think, goddamn, we're at over 2 hours.
Yeah, we're 2 hours. Yeah, I think we are.
This is the longest date I've had in a very long time.
You're welcome.
That's what we're here for.
Right.
Thank you so much for coming on and hanging. And
Yes.
you managed to hang and not get completely like frustrated with us.
No, I was so nervous. I was like, man, you're going to sound like an idiot. You're hanging out with all these pros and you're like the amateur of the hour.
We're not pros. Holy
You
shit.
guys made
No.
me feel so comfortable, and it was awesome.
Pros.
I'm really happy to
You
come
guys
back
are.
anytime you want.
You guys are pros.
You were welcome to join us at any time you feel like it. You were able to hang, and like we were all very comfortable with you, and that is something that like literally that's how Jen got on the show, because we were like, you know what, that was fun.
Yep.
Let's keep doing it.
And next thing I know, Jen and I were doing a weekly show.
I have some ideas for some fun games I want to play on my channel that you guys should come and hang out and do.
Oh.
Like I want to play some games like name that cover artist. Is it a variant or is
Oh,
it not
no.
a variant? Is this a key or not a key? And like let's test our knowledge. Let's play. Let's do some stuff.
Does it have feet? It's not Liefeld.
It's not Liefeld.
Ah.
So I
Liefeld
suggested
or not
earlier
Liefeld?
today, I want to play a game with my club after the first of the year. And Bike Zombie said, wait until December and we'll talk about it in December so it's fresh in their minds. But I would like to throw this out there right now. I want to see how many of us can get blocked by Liefeld by the end of next year.
I think he already has me blocked, so I'm
I
ahead
know
of the
so
curve.
many people that are blocked by him.
I'm
It's
blocked by
ridiculous.
Tom King.
How do you
Here's
manage?
Here's the thing: if he blocked me, it wasn't because of anything I said to him or anything. It was because of someone else that I posted something one day, and he was really shitty about it, and it literally pissed me off. But I was like, you know what? I'm bigger than him. Fuck that. I don't care. But a friend of mine went in and and like so I'm pretty sure that he tagged me. I mean he blocked me when he blocked my friend.
I posted a story. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
When I was doing pre-recorded shows, like Tom King's Batman was not a thing for me. Like I know people loved it, but I just it rubbed me the wrong way. And like I would post snippets, and I guess he searches his own name.
Wow.
And
you ever Google yourself, Dan?
The next thing I know, I'm blocked, and everybody on my friend list is blocked.
Yeah, by proxy.
Damn.
Yes, except for probably Gambit. Gambit might not be, but like a good chunk of my friends were blocked, and they were like, "What the fuck? I'm blocked." I was like, "Sorry."
Damn.
My bad, guys. No, I posted a picture recently, and for the life of me, I can't remember what the comic was.
I remember you posted something. I was like,
it said human feet or horse hooves, right?
Yes.
And it was that recent Deadpool cover. And was it? I can't remember what it was.
It was one of the alternate covers for one of the
Yeah.
Deadpool anniversary. Like that's all the dude draws now, and like.
But it had 300 responses, and 297 of them were horse hooves. And then I got 40 DMs that were like, what am I looking at? I was like, damn, I'm getting blocked, but he didn't block me.
So I'm in a weird place because my friend Carl worked for him at Extreme, and I literally have sitting to the right of me a page from the book my friend Carl did for Extreme of Bloodstrike.
It's a love-hate relationship in your house, huh?
No, it's worse than that because like Carl just announced he's going to be doing one of the Prophet relaunch books, and I'm literally sitting there like about to hit the resend and like, dude, like stop going to the well, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it because my friend is involved in this shit.
Yeah. That's why I at some point, when I had
so I DM him and I'm like, hey man, like, dude, he's like, work is work. And I was like, I get it.
I mean,
but
it's a gig is a gig is a gig, man. I kind of get it, I kind of get it.
But you're a toy designer now, and he goes, yeah, a check is a check.
Check is a check, dude. Hey, that's fair. Now I'll tell you something. If if I had a friend that's working with someone that was just shitty with me, I don't have a problem with that. I know it was shitty with me, okay. But if he treats you right and it's giving you
that's
work,
what he said.
fuck it,
Liefeld always pays him well.
I totally get it. Just because I had a bad experience with the dude and I just don't like his attitude in general, doesn't mean that others can't like it or others can enjoy his or like the dude. That's on them. Yeah, that has nothing to do with me. But if it comes to the point where he's being way more than just cheaty, and express things like
pettiness
that are not things that are a little bit more serious than just his ego, then I would have a problem, because there are things that I wouldn't like.
No, there's a certain artist who was so shitty to me at a convention that I will never ever fucking forgive that person.
Was it Neil Adams?
No.
Oh,
that was my immediate thought too. I hear that
a lot.
No, I watched Neil Adams shake down a little kid for money though.
Wow.
What happened?
A little kid showed up and he just knew that he drew Batman, and he went up there and Neil Adams shaked him down for money, thinking his dad sent him up to the booth.
You see?
I took a picture of him from like a mile away at a convention, and I swear to God, they heard my phone shudder because him and his handler both were. Did you pay for that eyes? Like,
But no, an artist,
6 cents for pictures taken from far away.
a former
right?
Top
That's
Cow
gonna be
artist,
$12, my bitch.
a former Top Cow artist, and I almost got into a fist fight at the booth.
What?
I like how like totally politically correct and like you're just a former artist, you know?
Who does a independently owned book that starts with Lady M.
Okay.
Ha! Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something
Joe
to do
Benitez.
with mechanics.
Yeah, Joe Benitez.
Yeah.
But like Gambit was saying, just like any human beings, my experience with somebody
Yeah.
will not be the same as somebody else's experience. Just because somebody's energy was shitty.
Well,
with
he
you,
eventually went on and made a post. He made a post after getting kicked out of one of the Dallas conventions about drinking to deal with people.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
so we're a chore now.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You have
So
to drink
it didn't
so
make
much
it.
and to have
It didn't
to
make it much better.
Yeah. That shit's not.
But that was their excuse of their
Yeah.
bad behavior.
That's shitty, you know. That's really shitty. I didn't have a bad experience with him when I met him, and I never had I mean, I've actually never. I've seen Neil Adams. We've been like a few feet from each other at tables at conventions, but I've never actually gone through his table. And I think it's a part of it. It's because I'm afraid that I'm gonna get a bad attitude or something, and I don't want that. You know, I prefer not to meet him. You know, I've heard so many bad stories that I prefer not to meet him, and than to risk it and go like, hey, and get something in return that's not pleasant. You know what I mean?
The gold standard is George Perez. I've never seen that dude not be happy and just jovial and
Dude.
nice to everybody in his line.
I'm gonna tell that this is on record. I will slit anyone's throat who talk shit about George Perez.
That's ride or die right there.
I will.
He was in his wedding.
I will. Yes, he was. He helped make that wedding possible, actually. So yeah, I would sneak. I would become a ninja, and I would slit someone's throat to talk shit about George Perez.
Which in the holiday season, look forward to Gambit and I doing a one-off Crisis on Infinite Earth, where it's just going to be us doing a giant blowjob of George Perez's art.
And Mark Wolfman's writing. Oh yeah. Be exactly
But
that.
like it's just because I don't want to do it for this show because I know it's just.
You're my new favorite human being, Gambit.
It's just gonna be like both of us going, George Perez is awesome. Look at how many
it's gonna be 2 hours. Yeah,
George
it's
Perez.
gonna be 2 hours of us talking amazing about him. You know, like just
so like a weird story.
glowing.
Like I had another artist in Artist Alley do a sketch of Wonder Girl, Donna Troy, and I'm in line for George Perez, and he goes, "Let me see that." And he goes, "That's actually really good. Go get the guy who did the art." I was like, "What?" He goes, "Go get him. I want to talk to him." I was like, "What?"
That's awesome.
And I'm just like freaking out. And I'm like, I went over to the artist. I was like, "George Perez wants to talk to you." And he goes, "Listen, it's too late in the day." He goes, "It's too late in the day to be fucking with me." I was like, "No. Like, he wants to talk to you." And he, like, doubles down. He goes, "Seriously, I'm not in the mood." And I'm like, "Okay,
Go tell George Perez you're not in the mood."
George Perez just told me to ask you to come over because he saw your commission I paid you for and wanted to talk to you about it." And he's like, "Okay."
Yeah, I was freaked out too, you know.
So he told his table mate, he's like, "I'm gonna be right back." And I brought over, George hugged him, and he goes, "You did the hair right." And it was
How wholesome is that?
Yeah.
He was like, nobody does her hair right except for Philomenes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
Yeah.
why am I involved in this?
You're like
Hey, that's a
artist
great
Cupid. You like
experience.
matchmake to that shit.
Yeah, he doesn't review portfolios. He reviewed some pages of mine one day. I was showing them. I wanted to show them those pages, not with the intention of being reviewed, because I know where my flaws are. I know. I wasn't. And sometimes I don't want to hear it. I don't want you to tell me. I know what looks bad. You don't have to point it out. But he was so nice about it when he went through them. He saw them and he said, "Oh my God, I like your storytelling," and that's all I heard from after that. I didn't hear anything else. I said, "You have the storytelling down. You fix this and fix this, and that's it." And it's like
he threw a spotlight on something, and it was like, "This is
exactly.
great. Maybe
Yes.
just tweak this a little bit."
Frank Miller looked at my friends at a convention, and he goes, "So, are you an illustrator or a cartoonist?" And he sat there and just went, What? He goes, "Well, are you an illustrator or cartoonist? Do your pictures have life, or are they still?" And he couldn't figure it out. He didn't know what the fuck he was asking him. And it's any artist you any artist
lagging
you ask.
again. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to talk over you. I'm in my basement, so like you start to talk, and I hear it like your mouth is going, and then the noise happens.
So any artist you ask, it'll make them pause because they're like, "Well, I don't know." And it's a great question, but every artist you will ask like has that like, well, both maybe I don't know.
It's a little bit tricky because when you say cartoonist, immediately you think of cartoons. You immediately go to the slapstick, stretchy, squashy, which is very important when you're doing storytelling. I would be, if he asked me that question, I would say I'm a cartoonist, I guess.
Movement and action. That's where I got cartoonist from. Movement and action.
Yeah. It's a Will Eisner thing, It's a Will Eisner thing, and I mean, we all know that he had he's very influenced by Will Eisner, and that's where I got it too, That's where I got that movement and action thing versus all of the pinup pages that the 90s comics had. It's like,
Adriana, go.
I don't know where I left off because everybody had a twirling circle for a second there.
Oh, sorry.
I mentioned that Art Baltazar refers to himself as a cartoonist. So I really think that is kind of a very open question.
Who is Baltazar?
And and I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer. You can identify yourself. Oh God,
Art Baltazar.
Team Net, like I can show you some stuff real quick if you want.
Yeah, no, just send me some links to look them up because it's I have to start getting ready to wrap up. It's
so Werther Deladara, I think, is actually a cartoonist.
Yeah.
For something that's killing the children.
Okay.
Very frenetic. It's always in movement. Alex Ross, illustrator. Jim Lee, illustrator.
I would agree with that, all those statements to a certain extent, because Jim Lee has some good storytelling, and Alex Ross for not for Marvels but
Still
for the series Justice. Alex Ross did a good job in his storytelling, but he was not the only artist on that book. He painted over someone else's work. I think it was. I might be mistaken, but yeah. So that's.
I would also say Mike Henderson from Nailbiter, cartoonist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michael Avon Oming.
Who?
Michael Avon Oming from Powers.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's very. Yeah, I can definitely see the distinction with that.
Rob Liefeld, I don't know if it's cartoonist or illustrator.
No,
there's
he's an
many
illustrator.
splash
It's as an
Rob
illustrator.
Liefeld is my freshman year in design school when we took figure drawing, and we were also focused on the fact that there was naked fat men in front of us that we forgot to draw the feet until the very end.
So yeah,
He's
I think he's a good illustrator, and actually
good hype man.
he's a good artist when he really wants to be a good artist.
When he tries, yeah.
I just feel like
Lazy.
he just puts things really fast, super out there because he knows that people are going to buy it. You know.
Fun fact: my friend who worked for Liefeld was also Jim Lee's ghost on X-Men.
Damn.
He did the backgrounds where Jim Lee only would draw the characters.
That's a pretty sweet gig.
So that way Jim Lee could stay on schedule.
Yeah, man, it's not
I
easy to
would
produce a
die
comic book,
for that job.
He also was uncredited for helping create Bishop.
Oh, that sucks.
That's my least favorite word in all of the universe is uncredited. I think if you touch something, I don't care how deeply involved you were in that creative process. If you were part of that creative process, there should be no such thing as uncredited.
Yeah, it was him, Jim Lee, and Portacio in the studio, supposedly, according to his story. And I have no reason to think that he'd be lying about it.
Yeah, why would he lie about that?
But like when the movie came out and Bishop was in it, he got a little salty.
I would too.
I can't blame him.
Yeah, I would be a little bit salty too if my name was not in the credits at the end as a special thanks, you know, just as a special thanks. You know, like big shout out to oh, I got stickers by the way. They're gonna be available soon on my website. There you go. Bam, big shout out to Gambit Sync.
And if you want to get a commission, you can go to gambitink.com.
Yes, I'm gonna have a sale soon of all the sketch covers are gonna be 50% off, and all the prints are going to be 50% off. I wanted to clear my inventory to move to a different product. Instead of prints, I'm going to move to canvas posters. They were great at the convention at Spooky Empire last weekend. And I can't wait to show you guys. And and I have a store in Redbubble, Gambit Sync 2 or Gambit Sync, where you can get stickers like this, and you can get shirts with this art on it. Actually, these two are in it. All three of them.
The Comic Queen has repped some of your shirts before.
Yes, actually, I designed a sticker for her that she uses for her work. Yeah.
That was you. Those are gorgeous.
Yes. Yeah,
she is one of my favorite people. I love her to death. I can never get her on the show enough. But Nat, if you're watching, love you.
We love you, Nat. Me and her are talking about doing some very informal just chats, just go live and talk about whatever we're reading that week or whatever. But we're both in that same boat of all right, well, maybe we'll have time. I'll text you.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So, I think we're going to end up doing Crisis on Infinite Earths because there's certain books that we don't think are good for book club because they're so big that we don't want to do for book club. So we might have our deep dive. I wouldn't call it a
special
club
episode.
And then the saga one-off. I'm thinking New Year's or possibly Christmas time. Yeah, I will let you know.
Let me know. I'll be available.
Last year for Christmas, we did a drinking episode that was a fucking nightmare, and I don't ever want to do that again because a certain person on the panel
we're doing it again.
A certain person on the panel got way too drunk and annoying, and it caused some problems in my life.
I wasn't here for it. I need answers.
It was someone in the community.
We'll get to that at some point. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I know all the secrets.
We can do that. We can do that privately.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, it's almost 2.5 hours, and I just want to thank everybody who stayed in with this. It's probably just everybody's family members at this point because we went way too fucking long.
My mom's in bed. She's gonna watch us tomorrow.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody who watches. And Night Witches next month.
Yes,
And
Night Witches.
I feel at some point you and I are just gonna do Lobo because we've needed to do Lobo.
The
We'll do that on a one-off.
Yeah, we have to do that on our time. I finished that was one of the runs that I finished last month.
Paramilitary Christmas, I think, is due.
Yeah, it's due. We have to.
So, what do you have going on in your channel before we leave?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Well, we have had some discussion today about I'm going to start a written blog at some point in the near future, and it's going to be called 5 Panels, 5 Words, ... 5 stars, contextless reviews. So it's going to be very short, digestible reviews that go along with my whole brand of, all right, you only have a couple minutes, you want some information, here you go. You know, my 5 minutes with Pretty Nerdy. So I always take pictures of my favorite panels when I'm reading something. I'm like, man, that was impactful. And then it just gets lost in my phone and nothing ever happens with it. So I'm going to post those 5 panels for that book. I'm going to use 5 words to describe it. And then I'm going to give you what I felt out of 5 stars.
You're very themed.
Was. And then
I like that.
If you decide to
I like that.
Go ahead. So it's like I thought it would be cool to have like a very like small digestible way to tell people if a book was worth their time or not. And that's kind of just where I'm at with my brand right now. It's like I have this kind of time to invest in you if you have this kind of time to invest in me. So we're looking at that as a upcoming option. I bought all of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror makeup. So we are going to unbox, swatch, and review that next week. I have a mail call Monday next week coming up because Rabbit Comics sent me a really cool care package that you're going to think is awesome. Wait, everything's backwards on my screen. You're going to think it's awesome. So make sure you watch it. Chuck's Longbox sent me some real awesome stickers he made that I want to show. And then Reptilian Overlord sent me all those boxes that we were talking about earlier and a mystery bundle for me to open. So all that's going to happen on Monday. That's kind of it this week. Like we're kind of all over the place. We just had so much going on. We've been out of town every weekend. Like
yes, you're hard to schedule.
Oh my God. October was a nightmare. November, I'm doing Say No November. And I'm not leaving my house unless I have to. So.
Well, if you want to read Crisis on Infinite Earths by George Perez.
Send me the Amazon link and I'll buy it from my local shop, but I just need to know what to buy.
I will send it to you.
We'll find it.
October ended up being way too busy because I ended up doing movie streams every fucking week, and I, for health reasons, had stopped doing weekly shows. And well, here I am again.
Hey, man, sometimes we need a break. It's okay.
Yeah. Dune ended up being a big thing. Season 3 of the Dune Over will be coming back after the holidays. I weirdly had a manifestation today that I think Mutant Massacre might be my most favorite X-Men run. Because I posted on Instagram stories when Colossus breaks Riptide's neck and threatens to kill Harpoon. And for Colossus to go crazy like that, that was a thing for me when I was a kid. And like I had that flashback memory. I was like, yeah, this was a big thing. Like it lasted for years.
Colossus ain't playing around, bro.
Yeah, because that like even to Excalibur, like everything that happened during that, like it was a big deal. That's really all I've got. And what have you got going on? Do they got any card sets you're working on, Gambit?
I have nothing.
Nothing you talk about?
No, I don't have cards. I don't have cards sets coming up. I haven't heard from Dynamite in a while, honestly. I hope I get something soon. They're fun to do. They're stressful as fuck, but they're fun to do. But I don't have anything on the table except the move to the new studio. I'm gonna make a sale to move out the inventory that I have stuck because I haven't had the chance to work on it. So hopefully with this move, it'll free up some time and I can work on my personal projects that I put aside for a while. I have a few scripts that I've started and they're just there waiting for me to start drawing them.
What about that comic you were working on? Like you had part of, like, is that out yet or
no? It's on pause right now. It's on pause right now. Yeah. I started working on a page for my webcomic, a new page, and it's been 3 weeks since I started. And I've only been able to draw 3 panels. It's already laid out. I just need to have the time to color it and letter it and post it. But
it happens.
Yeah, working what I was working, I've been working way too much and I put everything else on hold because of that. So now with this move, I'll hopefully be able to balance it out again, and I'll be able to get on track and be able to get these books out that I've been meaning to finish for almost 2. There's one of those scripts that's already 3 years that I've had it. They're waiting for me.
Can't we all just put our day jobs and just do the things we enjoy? Like, I had that conversation today with my partner. I was like, can I just quit my day job? I just want to talk about comics and hang out with my friends.
I can't quit my day job because I love my day job. I love tattooing, that's what I do. I'm lucky that I still get to work with art every day, but there's some other stuff that I would like to do and express and experiment with. Oh yes, I bought a do-it-yourself bass guitar, to put it all together, and I designed some art for it. So that's gonna be my next big project. Is going to be that.
That's awesome. Well, you have the luxury of loving your day job. Most of us don't have that.
I work with my ex-girlfriend. It's fucking horrible.
That's fucking horrible.
So I have a degree in art. I have a degree in graphic design for my bachelor's, but my master's is hospital management. So now during the day, I'm a financial analyst for a large hospital system. And it's for a very young company that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. So I have literally sat and cried at my desk because I don't know what's expected of me. So I'm finally just like, you know what? I'm just gonna quit and sell comics and do blogs.
Hey, if it works, fuck yeah.
I haven't figured out how to get to 1,000 subs.
YouTube, so hi.
Yeah, so everybody subscribe to Take 5 with Pretty Nerdy and her and Bike Zombie, because they do like comic calls and everything else. Like, I forget what else you guys have done recently, but it was comic calls recently.
A lot of convention coverage lately because we finally got to go back to conventions, and
I'm too scared.
To the point where they're giving me press passes and shit. So I'm like, all right, I feel cool and important. Let's go. So
that's where I'm failing. I should have gone for press passes.
Some places are very lax right now because they just don't have the demand that they're used to. So they're like, all right, whatever. You posted a blog one time. Here's a press pass.
Yeah.
But some places are like, fuck you. You're nobody. Get
Comic
followers and then call me next week,
My first press pass was that convention where I hosted Snyder's panel.
It was fun to have it, and I was testing whether or not people would talk to me, and I got shot down by Felicia Day, which was adorable. She was so wholesome about it. She was like, I've met you before. Good luck. But if they find out that I talk to you for free, we're going to be in big trouble. And you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I've had some creators that I've reached out to gave me the most pleasant, like, nah, I'm not talking to you.
Sometimes it's out of their control. Sometimes it's their, like, the way up here is that are like, if you're not going to collect a paycheck, you're not going to do it.
My proudest moment is Jennifer and I worried about our own behavior, and then our guest, like, just being out of control and us not being able to rein him in. And we love Philadelphia. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
That was a fun show, though.
Oh, yeah, it was fun, but boy, God, I lost control of that real fast.
So,
hey, man, it happens.
When we got those press passes, we had to put in how many we wanted, and they were like, "You're cut off at 2, and everybody has to have an official title." So I put Jandre as my assistant. I said, "This is my personal assistant." And they issued us press passes. And I was like, "Oh my God, we got press passes." And he was like, "How do you take your coffee, ma'am?" It was awesome.
This is probably not interesting to anybody at this point. Anyway, thank you, everybody. We're going to cut this off because we've really gone off the rails at 2.5 hours.
Nobody cares what we're talking about now. They're like, "It's midnight. Fuck off."
Thank you, and join us next month.
Bye, guys.
Stuff's coming. Bye.
Yes, things are going to happen.
Yeah.